What up, Twitch world? How are we doing? The Secondhand store is now open for episode 2 of season 2 of the Secondhand Chat Show. As you can see, I've got some lovely guests with me. We'll get to introducing them first, but we just need to do a quick bit of housekeeping. Obviously, for today's episode, where it is the chat show, I will respond to chat in chat rather than doing it verbally. I encourage my guests, if they want to also do the same. But obviously, we'll be talking to the lovely people here. Similarly, any sound request alerts will not work for today's stream because we need to focus on the conversation. You can tell that... Jen, I'm trying to do an intro.
No. Yeah, Jen, what are you doing?
God.
It's fine.
It's fine, Tenny's done it too.
Yay!
Thank you guys for the...
Let's go.
Thank you guys for the subs. We've been live for 1 minute and 7 seconds, and we're one bit of sub or donation or something away from a hype train. So that's been an active. All you as long as somebody who isn't one of you two does something, it will happen. But anyway, thank you for all of those.
CK,
Yes.
cut my tag. Says outside, Chris.
Whoops.
Are you saying you're not outside currently?
Sorry.
What the fuck?
I just.
Clearly outdoor Christ, guys.
Gosh.
I thought that the itinerary said that we need to all be outdoors while doing this. I'm outside in front of like a giant wall that's spray painted chicken
fixed it.
little. I did it all myself.
I was just gonna say, how are we gonna correlate this to Chicken Little?
It's because it's in my background.
Dear.
It's fine.
Okay, so this intro's gone to.
Horseshit? Yes, it has.
Right.
But
So
it's okay.
yeah, it's fine. What I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna play the theme tune, and then we'll come back and we'll introduce the guests. It'll be okay. Everything's fine. And look at the credits. And everybody gather round. We're gonna hang with some friends tonight. We're gonna hang with some friends, alright. It will be a real good time. The company here is sublime. We're gonna hang with some friends, alright. We're gonna hang with some friends tonight. So make sure that you spread the wholesome wherever you may go. So make sure that you spread the wholesome, 'cause it's a secondhand chat show. Hello. Okay, so we have with us today the wonderful, the amazing Hydroxide Ant. Hey Tony, how you doing?
Hi, I'm Tony.
We have the ever fantastic and friendly Psychogenesis. Hey Jen, how you doing?
Hello, I'm Jen.
And we have the better half of the TAC project that we have, the amazing Outcast Chris. Chris, how's things going?
It's also slander, CK.
Your slander.
Alright, thanks.
Something's beeping and I don't know why.
Slander. I am the slander man.
Yes. So a thing that we do on these chat shows, a redeem we have on the channel in general, is the cocktail redeem. If anybody ever wants a cocktail based on themselves or a character from a game we're playing, they can request a cocktail redeem. However, what we like to do for the chat shows is to take one ingredient based on each character. Obviously, we couldn't give them a whole cocktail because that would waste their redeem. But one cocktail ingredient based on each person who is here, mix them together to make some sort of interesting amalgamation. And this is today's cocktail. What we have is Tony is a very lovely and bubbly personality. So we've started with a Prosecco base. We've actually made an Outcast Chris cocktail before. And one of the main ingredients in that is cassis, which is, a sweet blackcurranty liqueur. And then I like on Gen streams, a lot of the aesthetic is quite purple. So I was like, what's a cool purple ingredient? And we've added in violet liqueur. And I know. And then, just to make it a little fancy, I don't know if you can see that, but then we've got like dried rose and hibiscus leaves just on the top, just to add a bit of like drink potpourri.
It's fancy.
And
Yeah.
Everything is better with drink potpourri.
Right. And I can say that the three of you together make quite a delicious cocktail.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
That's probably one of the best compliments I've ever gotten.
Wow.
You make
Well-
a delicious cocktail.
Oh, well, as long as we don't, like, inch towards Jeffrey Dahmer, the people Dahmer aesthetic.
Yes.
Jeffrey Dahmer, the people.
I've not had that nickname for him before.
I've never
Well, I
heard
mean,
that either.
He's from Wisconsin, so of course I would have a good nickname for him.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome, everybody.
We may loop back around to that. I sort of feel like I want to like now talk about silly Jeffrey Dahmer facts I know, but I've got a show to run. We may have to come back to this.
We'll do an after hours where we strictly talk about drinks and serial killers.
Yes, that's it. Well, look for this new show that Jen's going to be starting, where she's just going to have people on to get drunk and talk about serial killers.
I mean, that sounds fantastic to me, as long as I'm not the one that's drinking, because we know what happens when I drink.
That is true.
Yes.
But
Regret.
I think that happens. It's when most people drink, actually.
Yeah, well, normally people don't talk about what I talk about when people are drunk. So I think I'm a little special.
Right, so we start today's show off with a little interview with each of you. So let's start off with our lovely friend Tony. When I find where I left your interview. Tony! One of the things you have become known for are your channel point redemptions. The quacks especially. My favourite, however, is the relate this topic to Chicken Little. Yeah.
Before you know that thing where you're thinking
Oh, no.
black screen?
Yeah,
Wait, I can fix it.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, will it, the table is broken.
Wait.
If anyone's confused, I'm the bubble that's Tony.
I don't know where everything's going. Hey, wait, it came back. Oh, no, it's gone
It's
again.
like it's
Oh, wait.
squares.
I know how to do it. Right.
Yay, we're back.
Okay.
Oh, it's good.
What are tech issues, right?
I mean, same. It's not like I had. Well, I mean, I had like 4 mini streams because my internet kept crashing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little guilty of that.
Okay. Are you still there if I do this? I know, basically. That's fine. But yeah, so Tony, one of the things you become known for on your channel is your channel point redemptions, the quacks especially. My favourite is the relate this topic to Chicken Little, which is funny because you've got Chicken Little background. I wanted to know where you get the ideas for your redeems from.
That is a good question. For most of them, it's just something that crossed my head one day, and I say, wouldn't it be silly if... And then, then I do it, and then somehow people like them. I don't, you know.
Yeah.
Because the quacks, for one, I just can quack.
Yeah.
So I would just do it, and I think like I was doing it on the stream one day, and someone random in chat actually suggested, "Hey, you should like make that a redeem." And I'm like, "Hey, you're right. That's such a good idea."
Good work, person in chat.
Yeah. And that's why also the 3 quacks is at 1,400 points when the 1 is 500. Because they're like, you gotta make it a deal. I'm like,
Yeah.
right.
You understand marketing.
I just also, for Chicken Little, I just really like Chicken Little as a movie. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. And I forget, I think like one day, like, I think it was on like an episode of Background Noise where I basically just boldly claimed that I can relate anything to Chicken Little.
Yep.
And then I think it was my friends Pie and probably Crow kept grilling me on it and came up with different scenarios of, can you relate that to Chicken Little? And I did it. Then it just became a channel point video from there.
It is good fun. And it's actually more versatile than I thought, because I first thought it had to be relate whatever you were currently talking about to Chicken Little, but it's not. You can just type in any subject and it's
any topic whatsoever.
Any topic. But as you mentioned it, that nicely leads into my next question. So you have your weekly podcast, Background Noise. Can you tell us a bit about that and what made you want to do it?
So, I, like, when I was a younger Hydroxide, liked watching YouTube videos, and I started watching, there was a YouTuber who probably no one else will know, he was called Woody's Gamer Tag. He did a series on YouTube, and then he did a podcast.
Thanks, Jen.
And I'm like, wow, I really like your content. This is so cool. I want to do a podcast one day. And then in high school, I was like, no, I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna start doing it. So I just basically bit the bullet, and started doing the podcast, and haven't stopped for looks that watch. I don't want to watch. I was for over 9 years now.
Wow, 9 years. That's crazy. That's a really long time. I did a podcast for 2 years, and that was so much work.
And 9 years, and I have not missed a week.
Wow. That is very impressive. Like, well done, genuinely. And then finally, I wanted to ask you, so why is Valorant the best, worst game in your life?
Oh, you described it so well. It is the best, worst game in my life. I like Valorant, because I played a lot of Counter-Strike, way too much Counter-Strike for years. And then I was like, oh, this new game's out. Oh, try it. And now I'm addicted to Valorant. But I like Valorant because I like the way the game plays.
Yeah.
Legitimately, the mechanics of the video game are so much fun, but the reason it's the worst game is the people.
It just falls into the...
There are just so many mean, ill-willed people to play the game that, I also make it, my best intention to always be as kind as possible during the games. I do get a little mad, but when I get mad, I'm not holding my pusher talk to my team. it's just for us.
Yeah, it does seem to be a bit of a problem with online gaming, shooters especially. I know I was watching one of the other Tony streams the other day, and she had an entire team of her entire team of people on Apex were just all massively racist. So she was just no, and I'm just going to sit here and I'm not playing. I'm not helping these people.
It is weird. I almost think that, I know this isn't really exactly talking, I'm kind of segueing a little bit, is that, competitive video games kind of bring the worst out of people. I don't know if it's just, the competitive, nature of them, but, you'll see in, a lot of different communities, not even just FPS and MOBAs, even fighting games, that people are just so, yeah. I
mean, although that is true, I mean, I would say actually I've seen a lot of very good things from the Mortal Kombat community. They genuinely are. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've run into one or two dickheads in it, but
yeah. Hey, if there's communities that they're really nice people in.
Oh, absolutely. Cool. So, do you have a question you would like to ask me today?
Yeah, definitely. So, it's kind of like a two-parter.
Sure.
If that's okay.
Hit me with it. We'll argue about it later.
So, I wanted to know, in your life, how has being a father affected your taste in video games, if at all? And has like the impact of that as well maybe changed the way do you think you would ever have approached streaming?
I think to answer the second bit first because it's much easier. I think if I'd had Lyra first, I probably wouldn't have started streaming because what is time? I have no free time anymore. Yeah. Like, the only free time I genuinely have, because between sort of working a full-time night job, being a dad, being a husband, trying to have some semblance of a social life, and streaming, and now on top of that, I'm also trying to record an album. I think, like, my free time I have is between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. on a Sunday and Monday mornings. That's my, like, 8 hours I can do whatever I want with. So yeah, it's not like I think really if Lyra had been here before I'd started streaming, I probably wouldn't have started because it would mean I'd just have an evening at the weekends. That's not to say that I don't love streaming, and I'm like really enjoying doing it. But yeah, it's just like I say, it's a time thing. Has it changed what video games I like? I don't think so. I mean, possibly I'm more empathetic towards father figure characters now.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there was the big thing that I was streaming all the Resident Evil games, and I managed to time it perfectly, so we finished 7 like a couple of days before 8 actually came out. So I just got to start 8 on day of release. Jan, thank you. Thank you for all of the many, many subs. But for those who haven't played Resident Evil Village, slight spoiler now, but there is one part where you have to come up against a giant fetus that chases you around a horrible like maze, screaming at you, like calling you daddy. And I was playing that when Katie was like, we had just announced to the internet and like the world at large that Katie was pregnant. And then it was literally like a week later or something, I was being chased by this giant fetus calling me daddy, and I was like, I'm not ready for this. This is what it's gonna be like. I was like, this is just the worst timing ever. And then like, so I remember that being like a big thing. Children equals fear. Yeah, exactly. And then obviously like, I know it sounds silly because it's a very silly game, but playing Daddish the other week, there was a bit where like because the whole point of that was you have to collect your children and take them home, and there was a bit where he said the line, "I have a passion for going home," and I was like, I've never felt more akin to somebody. Like, just like the utter frustration. But yeah, I think it's just that I would actually quite like to play God of War again, like the whole thing with Kratos and Atreyu and stuff. Like, and I never got around to play. Yeah, I never got around to playing Ragnarok, so I should really do that. And I just think cool like father figure things would probably hit differently now. It certainly does a lot with TV and things. So, but yeah, thank you.
That's really cool.
Right, we'll move on to Jen.
We love Jen.
Oh my god, why?
Why do we love you, or why are we moving on to you?
No,
Jen cool.
yeah. Oh, well,
You can't say Gen cool, it sounds like the cool generation, doesn't it? Like Gen Z, Gen X, and now Gen cool.
Oh no. Regrets.
Yeah.
I have regrets.
Right, Jen, I know accessibility in gaming is an important subject for you. What made you start focusing on gaming accessibility?
So, as my full-time job, I am an assistive technology specialist, and it really started with the release of the adapted controller from Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
For a very long time, I only thought of physical access to video games, which could only be solved by technology. And then Last of Us 2 came out. So it was just a little bit... Am I quiet again?
You sound okay to me, but...
Okay. I'm sorry, Worlds, I'm not as loud as I usually am. I'm trying to be as loud as I can. But, like, ASMR and mouth pops. But the game accessibility, like, actual components, I started getting into that with the release of Last of Us 2.
Yep.
Because, specifically, Steve Saylor, who is wonderful, had a clip going around on Twitter of him crying because of how accessible the game was. And that just changed everything for me.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I did hear that it was one of the games that was really praised for its accessibility.
Yes, and they were one of the first ones to actually consult with gamers with disabilities.
Oh, right.
Instead of being like, hey, let's hire professionals that can emulate disabilities, because it's cheaper to just hire one person than hire actual people with different abilities.
Yeah. Oh, that's good that they put the people before the money. That's a rare thing.
Absolutely.
I also want to say, so you play quite a variety of games on your streams. What is your process for choosing the games you play?
A lot of the things that I take into consideration include, is it actually accessible for me?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't play games that I can't play because I can't play them.
That makes sense.
Yes, but I do have a handful of games that I will use to showcase why game accessibility is so important, by showing them I can't play this because of these reasons. And then here, watch me struggle with this for 10 minutes. Because then they have an actual person that they can identify, oh shit, she can actually not play this because it's not accessible to her. But I love indie games.
Mm-hmm.
I try to go with those as much as I can, but I also love accessibility. So when there is a AAA company that releases a really great game with a lot of really good features, I want to support them as well and support the inclusion of accessibility. So it's becoming more common. Accessibility has definitely increased drastically in the past year.
Yes.
The first Innovations of Accessibility Award for the Game Awards was in 2021. So it's still very, very new.
Yes. But it's good that they've included it now, and that will hopefully increase it in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, sorry, just a tangent slightly. You know what really annoys me as the game for the games I play, because it is the simplest of accessibility things that they just haven't included. That all games, as far as I'm aware, have had since, for like even before accessibility was like a known thing. Just as long as gaming's been around, really. But like I played Dead by Daylight a fair bit, but it seems like every time they redo their map, like every now and again they're like, yeah, we're going to update all the graphics and stuff and change it around a little bit, and it just seems to be that all they do is make it darker. And it's getting to the point, I'm just like, I can't see anything on any of these. And there's no darkness option. Like, how many games don't have a darkness slider? I mean, surely it's just all of them do nowadays, right?
And you know, that stuff is really important. And it's also realizing the power of social media is freaking amazing. And I've actually befriended some of the people that do some of the accessibility work for Dead by Daylight.
All right.
Just recently.
Cool. If you could pass on to them that.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Because I struggle with that too.
Yeah, me with my sad broken diabetic eyes, I can't see in the dark, right? Like.
Well, I mean, most people can't? Question mark.
Well, yeah.
And
it's like
I don't know about you, but I'm not human, and like I struggle.
Yeah, and I know like a couple of people who play it on PC, and they're like, "Yeah, we've just downloaded like mods and stuff that increase the brightness," and it's like, "But I can't do that on PlayStation." And it's like, I'd like to keep playing this game, but I'm really feeling like every time they do an update, I'm less likely to go back to it because it's now something else is too dark.
So there is a specific killer that actually, for people that had light sensitivity for like seizures, it would start seizures.
Oh,
so
no.
People would have to like quit the game before they started having a seizure, and they were penalized for it
Yeah.
because they quit the game.
Which killer was
So
that?
it's like, oh, okay, do you want the person to like literally have a seizure in the game and not be able to play and like put their health at risk? Like,
Wow.
no, that's not a good freaking look.
No, absolutely not. Do you know which
So
killer it
they-
was?
They
Sorry.
fixed that. I don't remember offhand, but it was like people underestimate the power of people with disabilities because
Yeah.
gaming is one of the most cost-effective pastimes because of the replayability of games.
Yes.
So while it is an investment up front, like a $20 game like Stardew Valley,
Yeah.
I've put over 1,000 hours into. Like, so when you really break it down, it's super fucking cost effective.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And they don't realize that people with disabilities are an underserved consumer market because if they can't play it, like there's a reason why this game is not accessible to me, is a reason to be able to turn games in and return them to Steam.
Yeah.
Is because they're not accessible, which I'm so thankful they still have that in place. It's sad that it still happens though, and a lot of game developers don't have, like, here are all of the game accessibility features in all of our games. So you have to rely on like third-party providers that take all the time to take everything into consideration and lay it out for you to be able to do like consumer research on accessibility.
Sorry, just as you mentioned Steam, haven't they just added tags on games for like showing what accessibilities they have, which is a really cool idea.
And then Xbox has been doing that for a lot of their trainings as well.
Awesome.
And then there's a small indie company that they basically have their own director of accessibility equivalent, and that's the first person with that sort of title
Awesome.
ever. So, like, she presented at the Game Accessibility Conference for the United States last October, and she's fucking fantastic. And she's basically doing all of the shit on her own. She's impeccable, and she is the equivalent of accessible Wonder Woman.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then finally, I want to say your streams have a very relaxed atmosphere. Is that something you actively strive for? And if it is, what do you do to try and help achieve it?
It just kind of happens.
Okay.
Because it's usually when I am with my friends that things turn chaotic.
Yeah.
So I will do my streams in the morning. I'm usually trying to be quiet because my boyfriend sleeps later than me.
Sure.
So I don't want to wake him up by like screaming, "Hey, fuck you." Like, I don't know, your mom's a bitch. Like, I don't want to do that at like 8 in the morning. So I try to be considerate. And then I join calls with, unlike Dragoon, knows this very well. He's like, there's Stream Violet, and then there's After Hours, Rated M Violet that joins calls where I just say the worst things. I feel so bad. So, you know, it's not something that I intended to do, it just kind of happened. And usually when I'm streaming, it's early in the morning, I'm trying to be quiet, and I'm not fully awake yet.
Sure.
So, I mean, it works out. Like, I've had people say they fall asleep to my streams, which is really nice.
Yeah. I mean, I have a similar thing. I have to try and be quiet because I stream late at night. Like, everyone else is in bed now.
It's kind of a bitch, huh?
Yeah. But, you know, like I say, it's
Like,
the
I
only
wanna
time
be
I have time.
chaotic.
I mean, we're hoping that at some point in the not too distant future we can move into a bigger house, and then I can have a stream room. But as you can see, this is my living room. Like, I can't just take up the whole downstairs when everyone's awake.
I mean, you could. It would just
Well, I
be
could.
very time consuming.
Well, more to the point, it'd be very inconsiderate, and it's...
It's fine. You need your space too.
Yeah. Right. Do you have a question you would like to ask me?
If you had a piece of advice that you wish you would have heard as a child, what would it be and why?
I think if I had a piece of, I don't know, maybe like, I know it sounds really cliche, but like, try harder at school. As an adult, I really love learning stuff. I think the problem is at school they teach you the wrong things, isn't it?
Well, and the problem is that with school, like a big part of accessibility, full circle, because I have to incorporate accessibility into everything,
Yes.
is you have to take into consideration that people obtain information via different means.
Mm-hmm.
So accessibility just gives you those options to adapt and perfect what your needs are to be able to enjoy a game. Same thing applies to learning.
Yeah.
So I'm a combination learner that relies on vision, hearing, and learning by doing. And like I didn't learn that until I was in college. So up until I was in college, school was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been a big fan. I think uni was quite fun, but until then it was probably a bit... It's just something I had to do.
A requirement, yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't... Like, that's one reason why I love what I do, is because I get to go into schools and teach as well. So, like, I help teach self-advocacy. I've helped teach online safety. And so I get to go in and be like, no, we're not going to be learning from a book. We're going to play a video game. And you're going to learn by making mistakes.
Yay.
Because mistakes are data. Like, any mistake you make in life, you learn from it.
Yeah. But I think that's what I do. Maybe, like, try and focus more on learning and expanding myself, maybe.
And hindsight is always 20/20. You know, I think that, especially with my own life experiences, what I would tell myself is to enjoy the people that I have around me, because that time isn't guaranteed. So I would have wanted to learn more from my brother if I knew the limited amount of time that I would have had. I would have wanted to learn more from my mom. I would have wanted to record more. I would have wanted to, I don't know, send her flowers more frequently just because. Like,
Yeah.
I think that that's also learning, because you will always want more time. Point blank, period.
Yes.
But that's also... Time is so valuable.
Time is short. Enjoy it while you've got it, sort of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right, let's move over to Chris.
Ew.
Hello, Chris. So at the beginning of the year, you took a break from streaming, and I know, like, stream breaks are something a lot of people feel very nervous about doing and sort of have a bit of a stigma towards. So I just wanted to ask if you found taking a break helpful, and did you feel nervous about coming back after you'd done it?
That's a good question. When I took a break, it was like towards the end of January, I think, like mid to end of January, and it was a case of like, you know, I wasn't really enjoying it because the way I termed this when talking about it on my stream was that, I think for me, it's like when you go out and it's like going out and doing some stuff, and it's like invite your friends to come along with you, and you know, you'll have a nice time. And sometimes it's like when no one shows up, it's like, okay, that's fine, I can still do all this stuff anyway. It just just not going to feel as good as sharing the experience with other people.
Yeah.
And there was just during that point where like people just weren't showing up, which is fair. That that's your choice. But it just it's like when you're the one making the plans, you just like, I may as well just not make the plans and do the stuff myself.
Yeah.
For short bits. So that's why I took the break.
I mean, I'm sure we've all done streams to sort of like know people at some point or other. It can be difficult.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like I'm sure we all can agree that we need our communities, not just for like numbers, not at all for numbers, but just like sometimes it's like you need someone to be there to help you get out of a bad headspace or something. So when someone isn't there, it's like, well, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But like it's just a case of I knew that I wasn't having fun, and to an extent I was nervous about taking a break, but at the same time I was like, I was more nervous that if I did take a break and came back, I wouldn't get the rest that I needed between that time. And another big reason of why I took that break was because it wasn't just that people weren't coming to me, it's that I wasn't going to other people.
Yeah.
Their streams, because I just started to slowly shut myself off because I was just trying to. I was also doing some other stuff like editing videos and stuff like that. So it's like, this is a very incoherent answer. So I'm
That's
sorry
fine.
about that, but like, you do take a break. For me specifically, it's like taking a break for one reason isn't enough. You need to have like enough reasons to take a break. So when I did take a break, I was kind of nervous, but will always get that when you say I'm going away for a bit. Don't forget about me. And you come back, you get nervous about the fact that you've been away for a bit. And the thing is, like, I didn't take a full-on break because between the break was my affiliate anniversary.
That's true. Yeah.
I thought I'd do a 6-hour stream on the day to try and finish Dark Souls 2.
Yep.
Didn't, but I got very close. And I did have some people just come by, and it made me remember why I love streaming is that the connection and the occasions that you can have with other people, and that's why I enjoy streaming in the first place. Sometimes you can forget that, and so when I did come back, I was a bit nervous because I was coming back and doing it frequently again, so maybe people will just lose interest again. But also it was like, whatever, like as long as I'm enjoying what I'm doing, I will not really have a need to like take another break or anything like that. And so like, as long as I prioritize, I just had the mindset of as long as I prioritize myself time around, instead of prioritizing people who may or may not be there, and that'll be fine. Because if I'm not having fun, then obviously no one else is going to have fun, and that's probably why like now I'm feeling better after the break, because I'm starting to have fun. If you consider rage fun.
Yeah. You're having angry fun.
Yeah, like or fear fun.
Yeah, well that actually brings me quite nicely onto my next question. Because I was going to say, you've recently been trying to beat all the Dark Souls games, although I think you've done that now, but you've moved on to Bloodborne, which is of a similar ilk. And what set you on this journey, and have you enjoyed it?
Let me just get my copy of the Dark Souls trilogy. Because there's this thing like that my friend Lucas would do, and I think it was like a course that he was doing, and a part of the course is like allocating money, and it was like actual real money that like you had to allocate, and he asked me to do some things from favors when it came to like writing stuff.
Yeah.
And so I helped him with that, and I think at one point like he gave me 15 quid, And I was like, yeah, sure. But like that might be a different story, and I might have bought it on something different. That's the more interesting story that I'm going to go with.
Right.
So at one point, I looked on Amazon.
Yeah.
Saw that the Dark Souls trilogy here, this very version, you look at it now, it's going on for like 25, 30 quid, but it was like £15. I'm pretty sure it was either delivery or very cheap delivery at the same time. So I thought, you know what, screw it. Because I was like June of 2021, and I was, I'd say, in my first prime of streaming. So I was just trying out anything and everything that was fun.
Yeah.
And obviously Dark Souls is notoriously hard. I thought to myself, well, you know, I'm just gonna piss about, because you know it's fun for me.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, I'll go for Dark Souls because I feel like if I am going to do badly, I might as well do badly on a game that's notoriously hard. And that's how I bought this. Did my first Dark Souls stream, and I fell into the trap that a lot of new Dark Souls players have fallen, is that when you get to the first boss, you're meant to run away.
Yes.
But it's hard to see where you're meant to run. You try to kill the first boss with a broken sword, which is not efficient. Yeah, like, and I was playing that for a few weeks, and then I got to the Bell Gargoyles, and of the first two tests of Dark Souls, as most people would put it. And it was the first time I started just getting impatient with the game. So I did the boss off stream, then didn't bother with it for another few months. I picked it back up again like late 2021, early 2022. And I was going through a hard time for 2022, like for a lot of the year actually.
Yeah.
So picking it back up, it was almost kind of therapeutic. You know, it was like, because the whole philosophy of Dark Souls is like you're meant to overcome these challenges like you do in life.
Yeah.
And like looking at it from a different perspective of meant to overcome it, it's not meant to be easy, but if I learn what I have to do, I overcome it, and if I have to look for guidance or help and to just look for it, like, and I know I think Tony said earlier about like one of his games, can't remember what game you said, but you said like the worst part about it is the people that you have to play with. Yeah, the people. And I'd say Dark Souls is much the same way. Because I love the game. I just hate the fact that you get to people on the internet who are like, oh, I beat Ornstein as well on my first try. And like it defeats the point of what Dark Souls is meant to be. It's not meant to, you know, emasculate people who do it longer. Oh, that sounded wrong. You're not meant to
No, I get what you mean. You're not supposed to, like, it's not supposed to be a bragging contest. It's supposed to be everyone's journey.
Yeah, and if anything, it's meant to be the opposite. You're meant to help people, you're meant to get people into this journey. And like, it's got a running joke for sometimes where I'm just like, you need to play Dark Souls, mate, you need to play Dark Souls. And, like, my friend Sammy is just like, I'm not playing Dark Souls, Chris.
Yeah.
And it, yeah, like, and so that was my experience with the first Dark Souls. It's like overcoming difficulty, becoming a challenge, which sometimes is fair. Well, most of the time it's fair. Sometimes it's not, but that's life, you know.
Well.
Sometimes you get shit happen to you and it's fair. Sometimes it's not. You know, we can make no mistakes and still get fucked.
Yes.
And that's why I love the first Dark Souls. And then I got to Dark Souls 2. It was just, I think my problem with Dark Souls 2 is that it wasn't the same philosophy of difficulty as Dark Souls 1. It's the same philosophy of difficulty that you would see with something like Red Dead 2 or Call of Duty, where a harder difficulty means more enemies, more health, and this, that, and the other, and overwhelming you, literally speaking, instead of, you know, overwhelmed in their brain. And so, like, I didn't enjoy it, especially when every time you died, you lost health for the next playthrough.
Yeah. I remember that being a thing.
Yeah. So I didn't like that. so I moved on to Dark Souls 3, where I felt rejuvenated, to say the least. Because Dark Souls 3, amazing.
Yeah.
And I went back to Dark Souls 2 because I kind of want to, I'm a bit of a completionist now when it comes to the FromSoft games. I may as well try and go through Dark Souls 2, and I went through it, and I just realised it's not hard. It's actually the easiest game of them all. As long as the only way they make it difficult is by doing the thing other games do. And so when that knowledge of mine think, this isn't a hard game, this is mostly easy, I can get through this, no problem, until I get to a hard area. And then when I get to the hard area, thankfully Dark Souls 2 has this thing where if you kill an enemy enough times, you spawn.
Yeah, it has a limited spawns.
Yeah. So when I got to the Iron Keep, I just got a bow and just slowly and methodically, because I was doing this off stream, so I didn't really care how low I was being. I was just slowly and methodically just ting until it dies, and I just go through with the boss. And they do have some good bosses in that game. It's just that, like the rest of it, it's just I can see why people like it. Don't see why certain people say it's their favourite.
That's fair.
Not naming any names, but it's not great. Yeah, so that was my journey through the Dark Souls trilogy. I thought I was going to stop at Dark Souls. Then once again, Lucas, he got a PS5 time last year.
Yeah.
And so at some point, like a couple of months ago, he gave me his old PS4. And the first two games that I bought on it were The Last of Us and Bloodborne, because they were both on sale. And so when I played through Bloodborne, it felt like Dark Souls 1 again, because it was different enough for it to feel like I'm going into the unknown once again. And it was so brutal. But I was enjoying it, because at some point I became a masochist.
That's the important thing, that you've been enjoying it all.
Yeah. Until recently, where I'm now on the hardest boss in the game, and I've, without a doubt, died to it more than anything else before. Because, say with the bosses on Dark Souls 1 and 3, the average amount I'll die is less than 10, and the most that I'll die is like 24 times. Orphan, of course, I've currently died so far 26 times. And it's like when you die that many times, you start to see the flaws bits in the game, because it's like it's hard, but then they add a little thing to it, and it's like it didn't need to be this hard.
You can't complain about FromSoft games being too hard.
Yeah,
that's a rule.
I mean, legit, it was a case of not really too hard in the average hit, but more like or dodge and attack correctly and still get hits sometimes, because it had not a follow-up attack, but the other than, of course, it has I'm not going to, it's a bit gross, but it has a placenta weapon.
Yes.
And it works imagine if Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, instead of having a spear at the end of the chain, had a massive scythe. And he would throw this scythe center thing at you. You can dodge it, but it'll come back. And if it hits you and it comes back, it'll not only give you a tiny bit of health reduced, also gives you. And considering how erratic Orphan of course is, it is almost impossible to just keep up. And one of my least favourite things when it comes to From Software games is when they make the boss faster than you, because are you supposed to react to something that's faster than you? It reacts faster than you can react. And so it's currently been my, I'm going to say white whale, but that's a bit too accurate of a pun. Yeah, it's been like this.
It's been a challenge.
It's unassailable challenge that I'm getting close, but yeah, I'd say like with my journey through the Soulsborne games.
Sorry, I know you vanished again.
It changed the way that I've seen gaming. Just before, it was cinematic games like Red Dead 2, GTA 5. You know, games which had very good gameplay, but also had like a very cinematic approach to the play or how you play it. Then I got hands on this, and now I've appreciated the complete opposite as well. And now I feel like I'm officially a variety streamer.
Good. Well, it's nice that you've gone through this big journey. So finally, I wanted to ask you, which I guess is kind of related to what you've just been saying, but after years of being a diehard Xbox player, how is it to finally have a PlayStation?
Well, where do I begin? Say this, I wouldn't say like I started streaming. I was a diehard Xbox fan. It's just that it was the console I had, but I was like a diehard Xbox fan around the 360 era, because Black Ops 2, and you know, that was my favorite game, and everyone was on Xbox when like all my friends that I was playing with were all on Xbox apart from one. So I just got an Xbox, and you know, I think it's just because of the nostalgia of
Sure.
why I always say I prefer it. But I had a PS2 as my first console. Well, it wasn't my PS2, but it was, you know, I played it a lot. So like I didn't really have as strong as a Xbox versus PlayStation thing that everyone else did at the time. But when I got like Xbox One, I just got all the games that I wanted on it. As a person who's just recently got a PS4 and bought a few games on it, I will say that PlayStation do have probably the best exclusive games. But like, even then, it's like, this is going to be a bit of a rant now, because I always love ranting about video game companies and the way that they price their stuff. It's like, when it comes to exclusives, I don't like the idea of exclusives just in general, because like I prefer it when gaming has competition, like with most stuff, because without competition, it's going to get lackluster stuff after lackluster stuff. Because they'll just get comfortable with making copy-paste stuff. Yeah, 4G. But at the same time, I'm not a fan of like how they are trying to compete with each other with sales, especially Microsoft and Sony, because they increase their prices like very regularly of the games, to the point where now Last of Us Part 1, it is remaster essentially, and it has a remake, $70. It costs $70. When a game like that, when it's essentially doing what they should have done with the original remaster, that's not for me. That's not really what should be doing with what you brand as a remake, because my idea of a remake is something like Final Fantasy VII Remake, for example, where the story is very different to the original, but the gameplay style is different. Like, it doesn't have to all be different, but like, it has to be fresh enough for it to warrant a full price of a game. With like the way that Microsoft and Sony competes, they are like pushing the game at like big prices, and at the same time are not lowering their membership for online. And that's the one that really gets me, is that like, no matter which I choose between Xbox or PlayStation, if I went online, I have to pay £50 a year, and it's just money that I don't have, so I don't for online, even though if I don't pay for online, I get locked out of more than half of my games because, like, for example, GTA, the game in single player is great, but it's very limited compared to online now.
Mm.
And we get to like Call of Duty Zombies, which was a big thing that I used to stream. The reason why I don't stream it anymore is because, like, if I want to get like my score and all my stuff on the lead, all the leaderboard stuff,
You have to be online. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't play with friends because I don't have online, and that's the reason why I really moved to Dark Souls as well, is that other stuff that's going on.
More single player focused because it's not online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it just frustrates me because I got a Nintendo Switch, right? And Nintendo Switch are probably Nintendo as a company are probably the most justified with having a high membership price because they have the most exclusives.
Mm.
And so it baffles me that, well, Sony charged £50, while Microsoft charged £50, Nintendo charged $20 a year, and you get all the online, and that's a good deal.
But their online doesn't work very well, comparatively.
No.
And also you have to pay extra if you want to use the N64.
Yeah, you do have to pay extra, but again, that is for the most part cheaper than £50.
True.
Which was £50 or £40. And the most expensive one is access to Nintendo 64 and all their old GameCube, all their old console games, with an 8-person membership.
Yes, their family membership is a very good deal.
It's £60 a year. It's only £10 more, and what Microsoft and Sony are expecting from you for their standard membership. And so, buying a bunch of PS4 games, it's I'm getting experience these really good games that I wouldn't have got to with my Xbox. At the same time, it's I'm still getting not as much of experience as I would want to, because they charge too much, and I feel like they don't understand the kind of people that buy their games don't have that money to just splash.
Mm.
And so it does frustrate me that we are in this part of gaming where best games to play are the ones that basically indie games, and it doesn't frustrate me because they're indie games, but more because AAA titles have more money. You think they would have more of a reason to lower their prices? They don't need as much money to be made. Even with a big budget, if their games are as good as they think they are, money would make itself.
I mean, it would, but that's just not how consumerism works. I mean,
exactly.
As much as they could sell loads of things for $50, if they can sell loads for $70, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's another thing with Naughty Dog, especially, is that I'm pretty sure we've all seen the PC port for Last of Us Part 1 by now, of those images of the most terrifying Joel you'll ever see. It's it just makes me think, how far have we fallen that we're being asked $70, not just for the PS5 version. The PS5 version, that's bad enough for what is effectively relatively Last of Us 1 under the Last of Us 2 engine.
Mm.
Asking for 70 for that alone is bad enough. Then you look at the PC ports, see how it feels like it should have been delayed, honestly, because
a lot of games should be delayed nowadays. I mean, that is an unfortunate thing of the thing.
Yeah. You just look at it, it's why is in this cutscene where there's no water, it's everyone wet? They're all drenched, dripping water. Why is that happening? It's it's a simple fix, and that's just one glitch. I know people that came not too long after the game was released for PC ports. And so, yeah, like, this did turn into a bit of a rant rather than an answer to your question of how my experience changed, but I would say, like, the experience in itself, it's changed a bit, but, like, also not that really.
Okay.
But also at the end of the day, it's like, it's mainly because I see Sony and Microsoft as one and the same, just under a different label.
Fair enough.
Really.
So, do you have a question you would like to ask me then?
Yes. So, you've been streaming for a couple of years now, haven't you? You've been streaming longer than I have.
3 years now, yes. We just did the 3-year anniversary.
Yeah. You've been streaming longer than I have, and just wondering, like, is there, like, any point back then that I'm no longer here now which you miss?
One second. Just looking at things to press. I'm going to have to ruin the formatting on everything. Blah, blah, blah. I've lost my mouse as well. Oh my god.
He's turning me up.
No, I can't turn Chris up because he's on 200% already.
I wonder if I can do something about that.
I can. I can turn the background music down a little bit. I'll do that.
Okay. My input volume's max.
Yeah. No press.
Yeah.
Sorry. So what has there been a point though from past streaming that I now miss?
Yeah.
I guess not so much a thing of streaming, but a lot of the people who I started streaming with don't stream anymore and don't like go on Twitch. They're completely not around anymore. So in some ways it's a shame. Like it would be nice to still have like the support that I started with, but at the same time, as much as I might miss them, I've met so many other new people who are really cool, and like I have like made new friends and stuff. So it's not like I'm not missing out as such, but I guess there's always kind of that special feeling with like the people who all started at the same time. I don't know. There's a sense of camaraderie if you're all like taking it on. Yeah. So I guess I kind of miss having those people around, but like I say, I've met so many other wonderful new people that it's not like I'm here going, oh, there's nobody around and I'm so, like void of relationship. But I mean, I've kind of been doing the same thing since I started. It's just come on, play some games, try and make people happy. That's always kind of been my focus. Is if I can make other people stay better, then I've done a good thing. And that's kind of like the forefront of my streams. It was why, I don't know if anyone saw it, but I had a Biomutant stream recently where I was very grumpy and angry through the whole thing, and that's very much not me and not the energy I try to give off in my streams. And I sort of apologized to people during that stream that I'm like, this isn't what I want to do. I just got really angry. I couldn't beat the boss. It was so annoying. Because other than that boss, that was a really enjoyable game. And yeah. Yeah. And as well, because I was doing it as a one-handed challenge as well, I was sitting there going, I'm sure I could beat this if I was playing with two hands.
Just throwing shade.
That's it, which was only adding to the thing. But yeah. But no, I can't really think of any sort of specific... Oh, actually, yes, I can. I missed VR. My VR headset broke, and...
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to do more VR streams. They were really fun. I will probably get PSVR 2 at some point. I didn't get it on release because I'm waiting for a few more games to come out for it and stuff. And actually, I mainly didn't get it on release because they aren't transferring Beat Saber over to PSVR 2. If they had, I'd have done it instantly.
I'm legit. I'm searching on Amazon if they've got a VR. Oh god, it's expensive.
It is expensive, but it's worth it. It's so cool. I love. I love.
Like I was remembering "Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes," where you and I did it.
Mm.
Like,
I mean, I've got that on Steam. We could actually do that again at some point.
oh yeah, we could. Make plans.
Yeah. Right then. So let's move on to the next section of the show, which is the Spread the Wholesome section. I've asked all my guests to bring along one stream, well, to bring along a short couple of minute like selling point on a streamer that they love, and they get to give them a shout out on my channel because it's part of the Spread the Wholesome vibes that we have here. So let's go. We'll go in reverse order from what we just did the interview. So Chris, who would you like to shout out and why?
Oh, me first.
Yeah, I'm going to go backwards.
Brilliant. I would like to shout out. She's probably live right now. He is called Alani Ace.
How do I spell that?
Do you want me to shout out? Because I can.
You can, yes. Oh god, this is the advantage of having mods as my guests.
Yeah, she is live right now. Ali is. If you check her out, guys, she is a variety streamer, and variety is my favourite thing when it comes to everything. Like, you can't, like, variety is just it takes away it takes away the predictability, I'd say. And the big selling points I can give to Ali is she's a fucking machine, right? When it comes to streaming, like, she's been streaming for 1,032 days in a row.
Amazing.
And her goal is 2,088. She's almost halfway there already. She is like a genuinely really kind person, and like I said, she's a variety streamer, so she's currently doing art, and I did take a look at other things that she's been streaming. She's done Mario Kart, so like some community stuff there. She's done some Witcher, Ori and the Blind Forest, Dredge, Amnesia, and the list really just go on. But those are the ones that I've listed out. And like, I think the one thing that makes Ali stick out is that it's not just like a case of, you know, she does a variety in terms of what she does, but also when she does it, because sometimes you can get just a normal quick check-in stream which lasts like about an hour, maybe less. Sometimes you can have a big stream with her where she goes on for about 8 hours, and it'll also like the stream will start at separate times as well, depending on where she is and what she's doing. So genuinely, if you can like find an Ali stream, it's very easy to find out when. It's very easy to at least once catch her when she's live, because of how different her schedule can be. And I feel like the big thing that I need to like stress about Ali, and this is the same thing with a lot of people in communities, is that you're guaranteed to find just a bunch of other amazing streamers from Ali. For example,
sure.
I will say this: I had over 20 people like in my brain for who to shout out. Some of them were from, like, do share a community with Ali, like Spicy Brits is genuinely one of my best friends on Twitch. And she knows Ali knows her, and I know both of them. And that's just one person. You just go into one of her streams, you'll find a bunch of other people who also stream by chance, and you know, it's very easy to be part of that community. You just go into one person's stream, and then, you know, you're introduced to basically your entertainment for the next few years.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Jen, who do you want to shout out and why?
All right, so his name is Alex. He is a gamer with a disability. He uses a sip and puff switch, so he uses his mouth to be able to shoot in Overwatch, and he's just overall really, really cool. It is Wallsies DGP, so WALLSIES DGP.
What was the last letter, sorry?
I will post it in the chat here on the call.
All right.
Make it easier.
Just so I don't have to like not full screen it, everything, and move everything around it. You're alright to copy that, either Chris or Tony. But yeah, that's cool. So he plays Overwatch with his mouth.
Yeah, so he uses he has a half keyboard that has a joystick.
Yeah.
And so he will navigate using that, and then he shoots the gun with his mouth. And it's a tube that is connected to his headset.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so that's the type of technology that I work with on a regular basis. The programming of the sip and puff switches is a pain in the ass. So I can definitely appreciate the effort that goes into setting his stuff up. And I was there for a little bit and had some recommendations of different tech he could try, and he's really excited to work with us.
Awesome.
So it turned into a referral.
Yay.
Yay, work.
Cool. And there you go. Both like, you know, Chris and Tony are like into their shoot 'em games. So there you go. There's a new shooty person to go and watch. See if... Tony, who do you want to shout out and why?
So the person I want to shout out is my lovely friendo Zell. I will shout them out in chat. So Zell is like overall just an awesome person, but I have to like thank Zell for a whole hell of a lot. Without Zell, I never would have done VTubing. Zell was a person who helped me set up VTubing, pushed me to do it, and so for color seers, on my model, let's see if I can turn, and you see like the under color of the, where it's purple, that is Zell's favorite color. So on my VTuber model, because Zell was the one that got me into it, I purposely, and as a colorblind, I had to look up like codes and stuff for it. But Zell, his favorite color is purple, so I put that as the back of my hair. So a part of me will always like have Zell on me. Yeah, and so for the content Zell does, Zell is mostly a Star Citizen player. For anyone who might not know what Star Citizen is, it's like space GTA almost. It's like where there isn't really a limit on what you can do.
It's a big solar sandbox.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Zell is one of the nicest people I've met. I'm lucky to have Zell as a friend, and I think everyone should go and check out Zell's channel. She's
And what's really cool about that is I don't know any of those 3 people, so that's 3 new people for me to try and see if I can find out at some point. Because as I sort of was talking about earlier, my free time is very limited. But if I can, I will try and check out all 3 of those people in the upcoming days. Right, but thank you for joining me and spreading the wholesome, because spreading the wholesome is what we love to do on this channel. So now we can just have for a general chat. I do actually, as much as this is really, you know, not very good with me as a host, I actually have to really pee. so I mean,
if inmates to run the asylum.
Right, yeah, that's it. So I mean, if you guys want to start off, and when I get like chat about anything you want, really, and when I get back, I'll just try and join in with conversation and pretend that I was here the whole time.
Or you could take a tip from Tony and try to tie it into Chicken Little.
Yes, when I get back. When I get back, I'll try and talk. I'll try and decide why your whatever you're talking about is like Chicken Little.
Yeah.
In true honor of Tony. All right.
Yes.
So, you know, be nice. Look after the chat show, and I'll be back very shortly.
Aye, Captain.
Chaos.
So while CK is gone, CK will have no idea we did this unless CK goes back and watch this. CK is an absolute legend, and I love CK so much.
Yes.
CK is just the coolest and nicest person I think I've ever met in my entire life.
Everyone's favorite CK moment.
Favorite CK moment?
Him just being who he is and just
Yeah.
it's like a warm hug.
Yeah.
Like every single time I get a message or I share something cool,
Yeah.
he's so supportive. He's
Yeah.
made me cry multiple times.
He's legit. I
yeah.
don't know if it's the same for you guys, but he's legit like the only person who frequently actually DMs me to check up on me to see how I'm doing. The fact that he actually, like, you heard him earlier talk about how he has to balance his life out. The fact that he has the time to actually check on people, just, you know, that's just showing who he is.
Warm and
So,
fuzzies. Chicken Little.
yeah.
So you know,
That's-
chicken
and
nuggets.
that's why.
Chicken.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
why.
know. I can't personally get behind the idea of Chicken Little flavored chicken nuggets.
Wouldn't they just be
No,
normal
it's
chicken
still-
nuggets?
No, because it's like
Where's his glasses?
it's more enhanced, and you know,
Yeah.
like clothing and chicken nuggets would be bad, and
Yeah.
you know, it's just what kind of chicken is Chicken Little?
Wait, but
I mean, he's obviously popcorn chicken. Like, look at that.
Oh, true.
you would.
But would it be like spicy?
I mean,
He's
maybe.
not that
I mean,
spicy of a guy. Like, he's
Well,
kind
he
of like
he
a
hey
chill
he
guy.
has a really big dramatic on-screen kiss at the end of that film.
Correct.
He
Yeah.
does.
That's
it
quite
is a little
spicy.
Yeah, and
So maybe
you know,
like jalapeno honey,
it's
Yeah.
so good.
because he's
So-
hot and sweet. Sorry, that sounds weird.
Yeah, wait. He's a child.
I thought I
I
was
have
the
regrets.
biggest Chicken Little fan here, but you know.
Like it was a little spicy though. He's very
Well,
sweet and
he's got
like,
a flair for the dramatics.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
That's me. That's I see a lot of my.
mean,
That could also be
You,
misinterpreted. So I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah, he's
No, no,
Okay.
it's okay to say you see a lot of yourself in them.
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not a chicken or little, so. Yeah,
Wow.
fans.
Yes.
So
Okay,
that
I'll
does-
do it for you.
That does remind me.
Hmm.
I don't
I
know.
don't
if
have
it
hands
was
on my
in
PNG tuber. I don't have
I don't know what to
hands.
do with my hands.
In the
Like-
U.S., there used to be a sandwich called the Chicken Little. It had nothing to do with the movie, but it was like Chicken Little sandwiches. It was just like a one piece of like breaded chicken on a sandwich with pickles, and it was called Chicken Little sandwiches.
Right.
So I always get them. And I think
And
of
they
this.
missed out on branding there. They missed out on the
Yeah,
branding.
they really did.
Like they could have like had a little like the searing on the top of the bun. You could have had Chicken Little there.
Right.
Oh my God,
And like
that-
Fucking adorable.
they didn't need to use the Disney Chicken Little. Like Chicken Little was a story long before Disney. They could have done a brand free.
Yeah.
No.
Tell you, that did unlock a memory though. CK, do you
Yes.
did you remember like from like a decade ago when the Smiler in Alton Tower was opening up?
Vaguely.
Like the marketing was like everywhere. Like you know like those cereal box like Crave
Yes, I know Crave.
cereal, and it had like the illusions of the Smiler on it. So like they would sponsor it.
I don't think I ever ate Crave as a child.
Oh.
I think the first time I've had Crave in my house was about 2 weeks ago when Katie brought some.
Let's go.
Katie knows what's up.
Yeah.
but
I don't really
there's
eat
also
cereal
something-
much at all.
Yeah. There's also like at one point, someone put like a hologram of the Smiler on Big Ben.
Right.
Like the advertising for that roller coaster was off the charts. And I just wish that Disney did the same with Chicken Little sandwiches now.
Guys,
Nice.
well, we've got these new sandwiches, right? They're Chicken Little sandwiches. Even though the film came out like 10 years ago. But somebody get me a fucking blimp.
It's never too late to.
Yeah.
I think it was genuinely. It's such a shame that the film like did so badly. I think it's a really good film.
Yeah.
I
I
love
Yeah.
mean,
that.
to be fair, The Incredibles came out in 2003. And they only made the sequel a couple of years ago. You know, it actually isn't too late.
I honestly didn't
Chicken
know
Little
that
too.
Chicken Little did bad as a movie until way later in life.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
nobody really liked it, and I think it's a shame. I think it was really good.
I really liked it, and I was like,
Yay.
what? People didn't like this movie? This movie was... I loved it.
So we tend to do if like Lyra wakes up stupidly early, but it's like too early to give her breakfast or anything. Like if she wakes up at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something, I will bring her downstairs and just like watch a film with her because she'll sit still because she's too tired to run around. And the last time she did it,
I relate to that on a spiritual level. I just have to let you know that.
Okay.
Like, that's me. That's me.
But the last time she did it, we watched Chicken Little. And I was like, and she really liked it. She just sat there and giggled all the way through. Until the aliens turned up at the end, when every time the alien came on the screen, she went, "Ah."
Such a sweet baby.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the thing I was really excited I want to talk about, like changing the subject from Chicken Little. But as I'm gushing over my daughter, she counted to 6 today.
Let's go!
I know. I've been trying to do numbers with her for ages, and she's never really like shown any interest in it. Like, but she's obviously been absorbing it and just not telling me.
I mean, yeah, that's basically like 88% of childhood.
Yeah.
It's just absorbing information. Like, so when I was little, I had frequent ear infections. So, like, I made up my own language. Like, because I needed to communicate my needs, but I couldn't understand English very well. So I made up my own language, and I don't remember any of it because I was a child. But it was fantastic because then I'm yelling at my parents that I'm like wanting something in a language that isn't English and getting upset that they don't understand. And then they're like, okay, this means cucumber. Great.
Right.
Good job.
Can I just like tell you that is most of being a parent, is your child yelling something at you that you do not understand.
You're just like,
I don't know.
okay, let's do like a PAX, like a picture exchange communication system that has images of things you usually want. What do you want?
Well,
So it's like I make those all the time. You're one of the
Why do you
simplest
keep
ways
pointing at Chicken Little?
Oh no! Again.
I know. Her thing that she constantly demands is Bluey. She's
Oh, I love Bluey.
Bluey is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I've seen it all a lot now.
Well, I mean, but reasons. Like Bluey.
Oh no, I mean I don't mind too much. Like Bluey is great.
No,
I was today years old when I realised that Blue was a thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so right, Bluey is, you'll find it on Disney Junior. If you've got Disney Plus, you can watch it. It's on, or BBC iPlayer. That will have some episodes. And it's a kid. It's like for like 3 years and younger kids, but it's actually genuinely amazing, and you should watch it.
Like, there are 16-year-olds that I mentor who fucking love Bluey and buy the albums. Like, they have Bluey
Wow.
on vinyl.
It's really good.
Like, it's a cult.
Weirdly enough about my childhood, I was born in 2001, so you'd think a lot of my childhood would be things from the 2000s. But
Oh my
because
god, I feel so old.
because VHS was still a thing in the 2000s, a lot of my stuff were from VHSs, including the original like Series 1 of the model series of Thomas the Tank Engine,
Nice.
which came out in like the 1980s.
Right, and that show's dark as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was great. They don't make it like they used to.
No, and with good reason. Like, I mean, you don't understand it as a kid. You watch it and you go, "Oh yeah, trains, love it." And then
You realise that.
yeah, and you see
Right.
stuff of it as an adult, and you're like, "That's actually really messed up."
Yeah, but to be fair, they put it in a way that is actually, you know, not haunting and not harrowing for children. So when you do watch it as an adult, you have you appreciate it in a different way.
Mm.
But when you're a child, you're like, hey, trains! Oh, look at James, he's about to crash into a fucking lorry or something. You
Yeah.
know, and then you look at it as an adult and it's like, oh no. You just gasped.
I did. Ains just raided.
Thanks.
Ains, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, raiders. We are having a chat show today. I've got my lovely friends Tony, Jen, and Chris with me. We're just having a chat about, at the moment, what we watched as kids. But
You got me. You beat me at that.
But yeah. But people who are
I don't
here,
have to do anything, and I feel like I'm not contributing.
Ains is super great and wonderful. You should absolutely check him out sometimes. How was your stream? I hope it went well. Please pull up a chair and enjoy the chat. You don't have to. You are contributing just by being here, Jen. You're amazing. Please don't feel bad. You're my guest. These two work here, so you know.
I just work
Yeah.
This is a Wendy's.
Tony's like, I don't know things. I just work here.
here.
I mean, that's also 88% of just life.
Eins is awesome. If anyone hasn't ever checked Eins out before,
I
you're doing
need
Twitch
to know
wrong.
how Binks is. Binks. Okay. Hey, cats. I'm the eHarmony cat lady.
You're an eHarmony cat lady.
Yeah, you know the
You
lady
date
that
your
made
cats?
her- No, so there was a lady that sang about, she...
Don't-
Oh
did-
yes, I have seen that video.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm that lady.
Okay.
Like, well, personified. I'm not actually that lady. Lady, don't come for me
As-
for, like...
As a PSA, don't date your cats. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't, because I don't have cats, because Matt's allergic.
Alright. PSA, don't date cat. No.
Don't date cats.
Cats.
Be it the animal, the musical, or the film. Just don't.
If you date the film cats, you're just like a glutton for punishment. You know what I mean? Like you
And
just.
that's like furries, but like not. You know, like it's
Yeah.
just that weird like hybrid in between area that not a lot of people go to.
Yeah, they're not quite people, but they're not quite cats.
Yeah.
But they're 100% Jellicle.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Rum Tum Tigger. I had a crush on Rum Tum Tigger when I was a child. The Broadway musical one specifically because he had the fucking collar. Now you know.
Now we know.
That explains a lot about me, actually.
Wait. Okay, so speaking of weird things that... This was something I didn't know as a child. But I as an adult, I am realizing the effect that Lola Bunny from Space Jam had on me.
Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ, yes.
As a child, I never went, Lola Bunny's hot. But as an adult, I've gone, there's a lot of things that she does that I now find attractive in women.
It's like, oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like imprinting. On,
Yeah.
Like,
The
your
Lola Bunny
childhood
to
brain.
like what you find attractive pipeline. So this might be a weird segueing topics, but I'm going with it anyway.
Yes.
Did any of you ever watch Scooby Doo? Like
Yes.
at all?
Oh, did I?
There was a Scooby Doo movie with a group called the Hex Girls, or like the
Oh
Hex
my
Sisters
God.
or something.
Hey,
They
Oh my God.
were like my we'll call it an awakening. The Hex Girls.
I mean,
And like when I look back, I'm like, you know,
that
Hex Girls,
explains a
girls
lot.
kind of, you know, they explain a lot about me.
Uh-huh.
I-
Present eyes know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know these Hex girls. This is another thing for me to look up after this stream.
Yeah, I legit. I looked them up. I know all I can say is I was such an innocent child, and I'm glad that I was.
I mean,
Wait, yes, because which is good, wasn't it?
yeah. Oh no.
Speaking of
Tony,
Scooby-Doo
I get where
movie,
you're coming from, though.
Thank
They
you.
were very... Yes, you're not alone in this, okay?
Yep.
hella weird.
So, Chicken Little.
Anyone else have ex-girls equivalent they would
Oh
talk
my
about?
god, are tied deeply into their childhood.
Weirdly enough, I never had celebrity crushes.
Yeah, no,
Or,
I
like any crushes on any fictional character actually.
I don't think I did either. Well, like I say, I didn't until it was only a couple of years ago when it just suddenly clicked how much Lola Bunny had really affected me. Because, like I say, I watched Space Jam when I was about 6. Like, I was too young for that to have really been like me to go, yeah, I've got a crush on her.
Yeah, I mean, like from a childhood development standpoint, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's like one of those things where children's brains are weird. Like, that was part of my education was childhood development and like family and dynamics, person and environment, and so many of the things that we watch as children do affect us and affect who we are as people, and that's fucking terrifying. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh god, this explains a lot as to why I am the way I am.
mm-hmm.
But also, like, I'm trying not to psychoanalyze myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can let other people do that for you,
Yeah, that's what therapists and psychotherapists are for.
right?
We love therapy.
I don't know. That's we're getting into some heavy subjects now of what messes with your brain. I'm trying to think what else I watched as a kid that might have been weird.
In the
So,
Scooby-Doo
like-
movie, like we talked about the one with the Hex Girls, but the Scooby-Doo movie by I think it was James Gunn who directed it.
Is it the live
Live
action
action
one you're
one?
talking about?
Yeah.
Live action one.
Like as a child, it's once again like one of those it's a Scooby-Doo movie, and then you watch it later on in life, and it's like, oh wait, like, and then you get the jokes, and you realise, oh wait, it really should have been made for kids.
Oh, well, that's actually the key to a good kid show is to make it all about jokes for the adults, because
Yeah.
Adults won't go and watch crap that they don't enjoy. Whereas if you make a show that they'll enjoy, they're more likely to put it on for their kids.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Like, it's not just like the children that are watching the film; it's the people who take
Yeah.
the children to watch the film.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah,
why,
it's
and
also-
that is why Shrek is the best film ever made.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Right?
But it's
I
also
watched,
like,
watched an entire video essay about how Shrek 2 is the perfect sequel.
Really?
yes.
Oh my god, I know, I've watched that. Oh my
It's
god, that's
fantastic.
such a great.
Yeah.
Oh,
But it's also like it's so hard being the adult because you don't want to be like you don't want to let it known that it's not appropriate, so you like have to hold your shit together, and I'm awful at holding my shit together.
That's still not true.
Like,
The other day,
oh my god.
the
So
other
bad.
the other day, I went to get Lyra out of bed in the morning. I did a huge fart, and she went bottom, and then I laughed for hours. It was amazing.
Yeah. Kids saying the dumbest things IRL.
hilarious.
I just love it when she does stuff like that. Or like, we're doing the thing where we're oh, I'm just being silly. She's doing the thing where we're getting her to like name body parts and stuff. So we'll be like, "Where's your nose?" And she'll be like, "Huh," and like, "Where's your head?" And the other day I went, "Where's your bum?" And rather than pointing to it, she just like stuck it out, and I was like, "This kid has character. She's great."
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Gonna be great.
Yeah,
You are creating an excellent tiny adult.
I think so.
Yes. You get the Genesis stamp of approval.
Yes, that's all I've ever wanted.
It's purple, it has cats on it, and it's shiny.
Those are all things she likes.
Yeah. So, you know, all things I like too. That's why it's the Genesis stamp of approval.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Wait, so question to Chris and Tony then. What does your stamp of approval look like?
I feel like if I said duck, I would steal Tony's.
You could both have ducks.
Yeah, they could be very different ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
mine
Every
would be
duck is
like-
beautiful.
All, hashtag
Tell you
all
what.
ducks are beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah. Mine would be a duck with the pattern of a tabby cat because I've got a
Ooh.
tropical tiger. And I am that duck, so you
I was going to say, would yours be a duck cycling up a hill?
would be brilliant. I think just a tabby duck.
A tabby duck. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm going to have to make one of those now.
Merch.
Yeah.
Well, if you want,
Yeah.
I'll help you make like tactile stickers so that way it's accessible for people
Ooh.
that are
Uh.
blind, because then it's like raised.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love working on those projects. There's a tattoo artist that I was just chatting with, and they wanted to learn how to make tactile tattoos. And it was the coolest fucking thing I ever got to work on.
That is very cool.
Yeah, it was like something that is added to the dye to make it like interact with the skin differently, but it's the same process of a tattoo. It's just like something in the dye that makes it so it's more tactile.
Tony, don't think I haven't forgotten your stamp of approval. We're coming back to it. But just as you talked about cool tattoo things, it's not something that is yet commercially available, but something that is like in development is they're making diabetic tattoos. So when your blood sugar goes low, the tattoo turns blue, so that you've got a visual thing to show that your blood sugar is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want one.
Following that.
I want one
Yeah.
so much.
Oh my gosh, let's
interesting.
start like a group funding.
Yes,
for
right.
diabetic tattoo,
Yeah.
please.
Oh.
Yeah, because I
Let's go team.
and like because it's a thing all about sort of your genetics and like makeup. I want to get a Resident Evil diabetic tattoo. It would just be the
Oh,
coolest
that's
thing ever.
Oh.
Yes.
That-
How would like how would you design it so that the like feel like the Resident Evil thing would be holding something and that's the where the diabetic
I would
tattoo
get
is the thing?
a vial of like a vial of the virus. So it just looked like a test tube or something. But then the stamp on it would be like type 001, being like typewriter font.
That is good.
Mm.
Yeah. Hey Jen, what like if you were to get a tattoo with like how would you have it so like for a diabetic tattoo? Would you have it so that like the whole thing's a tattoo, or would you have it so that like it was holding like for example a blood vial?
No.
How would
Ooh, that could be cool too. If it
Yeah.
had the specific component, like the vial itself had the specific dye. That
Oh, I
the
see what you mean.
blood
And the rest
sugar-
of the tattoo wasn't.
That would be
Yeah,
really
it's normal.
cool.
Yeah, so that way it's in an isolated area.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I would fear is that there would. So I have a tattoo. It's actually how I was diagnosed with lupus.
Mm.
It's the Orin from the Neverending Story. So the two snakes in a Celtic knot. I have that between my shoulders.
Mm.
And like the lines are so small that I think it would be really difficult to tell like the coloring.
Yeah.
If like depending on how your body heals with it, but if you have a larger surface area that it's designated to be in that area, it'd be a lot easier and a lot more accessible to understand.
Yes. I mean, I only have one tattoo at the moment, but it's solid black. There's no colour to it. But I suppose something like
I'll
that
tell
would
you
work.
what, imagine like I mean it's completely hypothetical, but
Mm.
it's like on a similar basis to how it would work for diabetes.
Mm.
Like what would like if you were to get a tattoo that was to remind you of something or would like alert you of something, what would you get it to alert you of?
Oh, if you could get it to alert you of anything.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
To hydrate.
Oh yeah. I can imagine.
Because I'm shit at remembering to hydrate. I love
I can
people to
just
hydrate, but
imagine
I'm bad at it.
if we're all streamers. I can imagine just us like having like our hand. Would just say X redeemed hydrates
Yes.
on the back of it.
It's linked to all of our chats, and like it
Oh
keeps
my God,
getting
yeah.
repeated over and over again.
It's just like a
just
body
hangs.
screen display.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
It's like
it's
watch your chat on.
at this point, what we need is a hive mind that just every hour goes redeemed hydrate.
Yes. Yes. I love that about streaming though is it forces me to do self-care. It's like, oh
my God,
shit,
yeah.
somebody told me to hydrate. I can't lie to my chat.
I have the opposite problem where I hydrate too often to the point where I'm like I ran out of drink like halfway down like from now to the starts.
You
Like,
can go get a
like,
drink. It's okay, Chris. Like,
No, I'm okay with but I hydrate way too quickly because like, and it's not just like with like talking either. It's like once again with my last stream with Bloodborne, it was like drink, walk, take the elevator, drink, go through the fog wall, drink, get beaten by the boss, drink, respawn, drink. Like I kept
Oh my
like
God.
whenever like.
Oh, you should do a little video, like an introduction video, and it has this song that just screams shots all the time, and it's just like clips of you taking drinks throughout a specific stream.
I was gonna say, it's a good thing that you don't take alcohol to your streams, because if you were drinking that regularly,
That would be
And
bad.
also, because alcohol dehydrates you more than it does hydrate you, I'd be drinking more, thinking it would hydrate me, but it wouldn't.
sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm putting on my to-do list.
You're welcome. That's just where my mind goes. I have a very musically inclined mind.
I really appreciate
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Right. So, backtracking slightly, Tony, what's your badge of approval?
Oh, it's just an outline of Chicken Little.
Well, yeah. But can we change like the tip of like the top of his head to like purple so that way you have like similar hair, and instead of his shirt you have hydroxide ant shirt.
Just Chicken Little in the hydroxide ant hoodie.
And
Yeah,
so
oh
like
my God.
if you were Chicken Little Tony.
Wait, Tony's not Chicken Little. I assume Chicken Little grew up to make Tony.
We were going to break it to him slowly, Jen.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I should have known all this time. My affinity to go. It's all adding up all of a sudden.
Yeah, right. And
It's
you
like,
know when you keep
that's also why I make quacks.
Oh my God. You're
Is this why I've been molting?
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
You're actually a duck.
Oh no, you're not a chicken at all.
I'm not even a chicken. I'm a duck called Chicken Little.
Oh my God, that's brilliant though. Like I want that.
Right, new film, A Duck Called Little.
Yes.
Duck
Yes.
Little.
Oh my God.
Little duck.
Yeah.
Or like Little
Yeah.
Bear, but it's ducks instead. I love Little Bear. That was my favorite show as a kid.
I'm giggling that now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
cute.
that's an American show. If I
Oh
do.
Is that the one with the
Yeah,
teddies?
I-
And like Big Bear and Little Bear?
Yeah.
No?
Think.
Yeah.
No?
I'm trying. I think so. And then there's like the Berenstain Bears. I used to sing that too. So I used to go into my mom's classroom a lot when I was little. I started volunteering with her students when I was 6, and I would always sing kids show songs.
Amazing.
And like, yes. So that's like I would go in and just
Oh.
sing to them.
It isn't what I was thinking of, but I don't know if I ever watched it, but I've definitely seen a picture of that Little Bear before.
I love Little Bear so much.
I think I might have seen a couple of episodes.
I love Little Bear so much. Okay, I'm just gonna go cry in my corner for a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
So I looked at the final air dates for the UK of Little Bear.
Hmm.
Um,
It's probably before you were born. Look, you're too young, Chris. Like,
yeah. Do you want to guess how long before I was born?
5 years.
Days.
6 days.
Like, yeah. Legit, like, it was,
Oh.
I was this close to being in the Little Bear area.
There you go. Little Bear stopped and Chris started.
I mean, have you seen me and Little Bear in the same room?
Well, no, because Little Bear stopped and you started.
No. Yeah.
Well,
It's the circle of life.
Those two exist, so Little Bear must stop existing.
Yeah, and then it's like Little Bear stopped so you could run.
That's it. It's the circle of life. When one life dies, another begins.
Yeah, exactly.
You killed Little Bear.
Oh no!
Little Bear died for you.
It was a public sacrifice to ensure my birth.
But it wasn't a public execution. Let's just clear that up because we don't want people looking at that on the internet. That would
it was just a public sacrifice, because I am basically a cult.
Okay. So what would your cult name be?
I mean, I did have my Discord server. At first it was just called the OC server because that's the initials of my Twitch name.
Yeah.
But at one point, because I was part of a stream team, and we ran into some complications, and at one point I was talking to some friends and we weren't happy with how the team was being ran, and so we were just talking about how much we were just disagreeing with everything and talking about it, and then somehow that word got to the people in charge of the team, and at some point they termed it essentially accusing us of starting a cult. Even though we were just venting our frustrations. And so, as a joke, I changed my Discord name to the Cult of Castaways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like honestly that would be my cult name, just the Cult of Castaways. I mean, it's now changed to a different name now, but
mine would be the Island of Misfit Toys.
That's from something.
It's from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer claymation.
Island of Misfit Toys.
I would have.
So it's where all the broken toys go.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's basically me and my life. I am the Island of Misfit Toys. It's like, oh, your leg's not working great. Let's adapt it for you. Here's some WD-40 and duct tape.
I mean, is there any problem you can't solve with WD-40 and duct tape?
There's a reason why I go through so much WD-40 and duct tape. I have it nearly, I carry it in my car all the time. I fix so many things with the amount of wheelchairs and walkers I have fixed with WD-40 and duct tape is just I hate the policies.
I just want the meme, that flex tape advert meme, but with Jen's face on it instead of the guy.
Yeah.
Just want that.
It's gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna work on that. I've had that added to my to-do, my task list with reminders and steps because I love steps.
I think mine would just be the second-hand cult, and it would just take loads of ideas from other cults and mix them together in a way that doesn't quite work. It'd be very contradictory and very silly.
I mean, so Monty Python, but in a cult.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, probably with less stop animation, but I mean, it would be cool.
Man.
I know. I don't know how to animate anything.
Well, we'll figure it out. I'll help you.
I'd just be like, yo, do you want to join my cult? Do you know stop animation?
Yes.
I can do silly voices. I just need somebody to animate it.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. We'll start. We'll utilize dating apps to find an editor and to find an.
Amazing.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. No one's using them for dating these days, so
exactly. Just you never know. You might find the really good fit.
I'm gonna put out an ad in my local paper because I'm old, and just be like, editor wanted.
Yes.
Yeah. To make stop animation of poorly designed cult choices. I'm not saying that romantic interest is completely off the table. Just it's unlikely.
So, would you want to have would you make a really poorly drawn Kool-Aid Man be part of the cult?
No, it would have to be a legally distinct Kool-Aid Man.
Okay.
You know, cold beverage, or like cold help. Cold help. That's what it'd be called.
Yes.
And he'd be like,
10 out of 10.
Oh, grand.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay,
Will you have a
so-
monocle?
Sure. Everyone has a monocle. It's
Hell
part of the cult. Everyone has to wear monocles.
Hell yeah. What about what,
Or
I-
circular spectacles.
do they have? What if they made like a VR headset that was a monocle?
It wouldn't work, would it? Isn't the whole point that you need both eyes?
But like that would be really cool though. So like there are some glasses that are being worked on to caption live conversations to make it so
Wow.
people can like look in the lower corner of their glasses and see like who's saying what.
I feel
It's
like with the idea of a monocle VR headset, it would look less like a monocle and more like an eye patch, though.
I mean, but that would be
How
even
many
cooler.
monocles is too many
Yeah.
monocles?
3.
Oh, it'll be cool. It'll be called VR.
Sorry.
Proud of that. I'm proud of that.
Yes.
Sorry,
I-
well,
this is
it'd be called what?
He
VR.
said VR.
VR. Hey, so interesting fact. Do you know why pirates wore eye patches?
They can see.
Well, it was because if they had one eye constantly covered, that eye would be adjusted to the darkness. So when they went below deck, they could take the eye patch off, and that eye could see.
Yes.
And then they just put the eye patch on the other.
Whether
So
that
it's
worked
like the
or not is a
transition
different
lenses.
story.
Uh,
So it's like before transition lenses were a thing.
Yeah.
You just had with one eye covered.
so it's like more of
One
like so that they
October.
rested their good eye, if that makes sense. Like they were to rest their good eye just in case.
No.
They'll always look at their bad eye, but whenever they need to, they'll just.
No, they. It's not like they have the Sharon gun and they're just like. Whoosh.
Imagine.
Oh man.
You know, to be fair, I don't think any of us were there when the pirates were. So I don't think we can prove for a fact they didn't have the shark.
I think you'll find that in some parts of the world, there's still pirates around.
Yes.
Yeah,
there
but they're not
That is
cool.
true. That is true.
Oh. It's like, oh no, all of a sudden somebody
Yeah, it's just like
they said that the pirates are cool.
it's like no, these ones just use machine guns and kill people.
Oh,
It's like it's not the
That's
same
sadness.
scary.
And it's the swordsmanship. Where are your cutlasses?
Yeah, you've let your traditions die, man.
have you guys ever seen the movie Stardust with Robert De Niro? in it?
Yes.
Him as the cross-dressing sky pirate. It was my favorite thing ever.
It's
I
good.
had a little dancing cat named Robert De Niro just because of that. Because
Have
he has
you-
little glasses on.
Have you read the book of Stardust?
Yes.
So the pirates
So-
in the book are like hardly in it at all, and then they made a big thing of them in the
Yeah.
film.
Yeah, it was disappointing. But my mom taught at the school that Neil Gaiman's kids went to. So like he has property in Wisconsin.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
just
in passing.
as we mentioned it, I mean, I haven't heard anything from it, so I don't know if it's good or anything. But my Google News told me this morning that Neil Gaiman's just about to release an album,
Yeah.
his debut album. That's just pretty random.
Why? Well,
I don't know.
Yeah,
Why
I
not?
Googled-
Money.
I googled Stardust. Did not realise that they had Superman and Daredevil in it. Like they legit got the actors for Superman, Henry Cavill, and
Yeah.
Charlie Cox who plays Daredevil in it. Oh my god, Jesus Christ! Can every film stop having the best actors in them, please?
Yeah, but this was a long time before they were Superman and Daredevil. That was just a really good film.
It was fantastic. It was like Hocus Pocus but better, and like I love Hocus Pocus. This is better. Like it's fantastic. I love it so much. It makes me so happy. That and Labyrinth with David Bowie.
I've never seen Labyrinth.
That movie.
Labyrinth is so good.
I love Labyrinth. so
It's one of those
much.
things that a lot of people do talk about, and I'm like, I've never seen it.
It's so good. And like the Neverending Story, also super fantastic.
I did like the Neverending
Love it.
Story.
Yeah, Rockbiter is my favorite.
I just think
No.
in the Neverending Story, it's like
Atreyu!
I was gonna say it's the film that will make you the most sad about a horse dying ever.
Yes. Oh my god. I had so many. That's the movie I watch when I need to cry. I
Really?
just watch that scene over and over, and then I watch the scene from Big Hero 6 when, like, he goes back into the burning building. Like, I watch that,
Yeah.
so I have just, like, compilations of, like, less than a minute of just all the sad movies. Like, I
Yeah, I was
really
gonna
gotta get this out.
Here's Jen's montage of sad.
Yes,
Yeah.
basically. Saga's sabotage.
If I need to cry, it's Toy Story 3.
Oh my god.
My God, yeah.
Yes. Yes,
Or-
yes.
Like,
What?
go ahead, you can say.
Oh, I was gonna say actually, or Toy Story 4. That also makes me cry. But that's more of a happy and less of a oh my god, everybody's going to die. But I'm sure the first time I watched Toy Story 3, that scene lasted so much longer than it does any other time I've watched it.
Yeah.
Because we were in the cinema, because it came out like the same week as my birthday, and all of us were there like, I don't know how they're going to get out of this. Like, they're all
Also, it's the third film. Like, it's the end of the trilogy.
Right.
At the time, so you think, yeah.
and then all the toys are holding hands and accepting their death. And it's
Yeah, and like, you're just in such denial and you don't want it to happen. And when you're on the verge of tears, you just hear their cry.
It wasn't even the verge of tears. It was floods, Chris,
Oh, yeah.
floods.
Blood.
Like Toy Story is genuinely my favorite franchise ever. I
And I
love
wasn't
those
really
films.
that into Toy Story because the early film that I watched for a long time was the second film.
Mm.
So like I didn't watch the first film and I didn't watch the third film until like a few years after it came out. And so when I finally got round to it, actually like we had it on DVD, and we used to watch DVDs to help us go to sleep at night.
Sure.
Me and my sister would. And so like we were going to sleep and that scene played. So you can imagine what would have happened like if they actually did die during that. Oh my god, that would have been harrowing.
Oh well, yeah, it would have. But I mean, it was just. And then the fact that even though they do survive, but then Andy has to give them all away to the little girl, and it's just really sad. But
Yeah.
no, the
I
first
like that scene, though.
the first one coming out was like genuinely one of my fondest childhood memories. Because it came out when I was 5, and I can remember my dad having the day off work, so he took me and my brother to the cinema to see it. And obviously it was like the first ever full-length computer-generated film, so it just everyone was absolutely blown away by it. It was just like, what on earth is this? This is insane.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like when it came to Pixar films, mine was always undisputably The Incredibles.
Mm.
Because superheroes.
Yeah.
And even though like I wasn't really, I've never been a comic nerd, to put it in a certain phrase. But I've always loved the superhero genre because Spider-Man is like, whenever you look at Spider-Man, it's like the most relatable person.
Mm.
In most like mediums, he's always so relatable. And so when Disney made The Incredibles, I was again like toddler age. Still really loved Spider-Man and all the superhero stuff. So when I finally watched this film, it was like, oh my god, because how much of the first and second act is just not Mr. Incredible, but rather like just the guy behind it and just normal like family drama and stuff like that.
Mm.
Like they leave it so long to the point where like it's not boring, but when it finally gets to the point where he is Mr. Incredible again, like you're just all in on the action. Like it was just a masterpiece of a it was a masterpiece of a film for its time. And also, this is a very niche thing that I think everyone's forgotten because Incredibles 2 is now out. But they created a video game on the Xbox and PS2 called The Incredibles Rise of the Underminer.
Yes, and it was like a prequel, wasn't it?
a sequel.
Sequel.
Like, immediately after, yeah.
Immediately after.
And immediately after the events of The Incredibles. And it was such fun. I don't know why people don't talk about it, because it was legit, like, my entire childhood.
It's because I imagine if you went back and played it now, it would probably be awful. Because the PS2 Xbox era was just when there was a movie tie-in game for every single movie, and 99% of them were dog shite.
Yeah, but Rise of the Undermine, like, that specific game, that's the first time I actually experienced a boss battle in a game. Because before that I played stuff like Ratchet and Clank, which do have boss battles, but because I'm a coward, I would never do the boss battles. I'd always just traverse levels and have fun there instead.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think. You see, the very first video game I ever owned was Donkey Kong Country, and that has a boss battle at the end of every stage. So I did bosses regularly. Oh, actually, the first time I ever saw a boss battle in a game was when I was 2 years old, and I was at my babysitter's playing the Sega Mega Drive, and she had a Mickey Mouse game, and I can't remember what it was called. If I googled it, I could find it for you. But the first boss is a giant spider that comes down. And obviously it's a Mickey Mouse. It looks very cartoony and silly.
Yeah.
But I remember screaming when cause she was downstairs doing something and I was upstairs playing the Sega, and I screamed really loud, and she ran upstairs to be like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. I just got to the boss." And I think that was the first time I ever got to a boss. Certainly the first time I got to a boss in that game. I might have got to a boss in Sonic the Hedgehog beforehand. I don't know. But I can remember fondly playing the Sega at hers. That's why when I was free, my parents got me a SNES, was because I was always playing the Sega or the SNES at my babysitter's.
Soul of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse.
Yes, thank you. Because I know there were 2 Mickey Mouse games she had on the Sega, and I can never remember which one it was. But yeah, that was a fun game. What were the first boss battles that you guys came up against? Do you remember? Or is that casting your mind too far back?
The first game I ever played was Myst. So the brothers were like villains, but you didn't fight them, you just made a decision.
I don't know that game.
It's so good. And it's a series of games. It was originally, I played it on PC, but it's a point and click adventure game with puzzles.
Yeah.
It's fantastic though. The books are really good too.
Cool. Does Tony remember?
Would you consider Pokemon having boss battles?
I guess the gym fights are kind of boss battles, sort of.
Or in like the original Pokemon's, where like you would fight with Giovanni, your boss battle.
Yeah.
Like,
I suppose it
so
would.
maybe that, if I can get away with that, because I'm trying to. It's hard for me to remember, other than Pokemon, what like the first few games I played were.
Yeah, it's just I just play games online. The internet is my enemy.
the boss is P.
I can just imagine like Tony's brain. It's just that internet dial-up sounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just little Tony. He's just got like one half of his brain is Chicken Little, and then the other half is like Call of Duty.
I mean, mode.
That's how it be. I'm trying to think of what game I would have played that like had like a traditional boss battle, like first. I don't know.
What do you think's the best boss battle you've ever played?
Best boss battle
Or the worst boss battle you've ever played? Whichever is
If you
easier.
ask me, I'll go on a rant if you ask me.
We won't ask Chris.
Please don't make the
Because I can't come up
Skeksis
with an answer.
noise from Dark Crystal. Don't make the noises of the Skeksis when they go.
I quite often find if I'm just trying to be annoying, or if I just need to make a random noise for no reason, I just default to Minecraft Villager.
I can handle that.
Yeah, that's just my if I need a noise for some reason, that's just my go-to.
Yes.
So it's Squidward.
Well, yeah, but I never watched SpongeBob, so that doesn't really mean anything to me.
I'll tell you what. While we wait for Tony to answer, the SpongeBob movie, right? Like we talked about like you screaming at. No, we talked about the Toy Story 3
Yeah.
Smelter scene. That scene in the Scooby-Doo movie when they are about to die, SpongeBob and Patrick. Oh my god, that's up there with like child films that's absolutely break you. One scene. Did you watch the SpongeBob movie?
No.
I didn't.
Oh, never mind. Anyway, Tony, so boss battles, eh?
Yes, battles of the boss. You know, people often talk about boss battles because of the difficulty they give to players.
He's going to say, and
I'm
you know
not
what else is
describing a
difficult?
boss battle.
And he's going to, you know what else is difficult? Trying to convince people the sky is falling.
It is. It's not easy. So my issue that I'm realizing is when I was younger, the games I played were Pokemon and like sports games.
Ah.
So they don't really have like a traditional
No.
boss.
The big bad in the athletic games is coordination.
So, what one of the first games I had was, speaking of sports games, was FIFA, I want to say 96? Maybe 94? I don't know. One of the 90s FIFAs. Back when they didn't have real player names because they couldn't get the rights to real people. And obviously, like, the thing with those sorts of games is they're designed for you to play like 4 minutes each way, but still be able to score a normal amount of goals. So if you change the settings to make it like a real life match where it's 45 minutes each way, your scores can be ludicrous. And it was like, and also, back on that particular FIFA where like it wasn't particularly realistic, to score a goal, all you had to do was just full power the shot. It wasn't like you had to find the sweet spot in the middle, because if you hit it at full power, you'd go way over the bar. It was just full power the shot from roughly that quarter of the pitch, and you're probably all right. Good times.
There you go.
FIFA, that unlocks a bit of a memory. So during the time where I was adamant about Xbox versus PlayStation, I was a very petty specific person at the time because I was a very but at one point I was up to one of the big towns in our area with my friends, and there's a CEX there, and to our people who don't know what CEX is, it's basically a second-hand video game store where people can sell their games.
Second-hand, you say?
Yeah, second-hand. Yeah, like, so it would usually be like some old games for very cheap prices. And we came across one of the old FIFA games for like 25-35p.
Nice.
And I'm very much not a football fan, so you can probably see where this is going. Where my friend says, "Hey, we should all buy it and just, play the game for fun, or just to mess about, just for a laugh." And my instant reaction is, "No, I'm not doing that." It's like, an old football game is not worth 35p because that's how petty I was at the time. Like 35p in the grand scheme of things, you know, it can buy you something, but it won't buy you a great deal of things. So if I legit bought like a FIFA, like an old FIFA game for 35p, I wouldn't have been financially changed in any way. Because I'm so petty about, well, I was very petty about how much I really didn't like football and didn't want to be made to play any kind of football, whether it be real football or a video game football. Like, you can tell, like, they're just like, ugh. And so they all bought it, and I was just that one guy who was just there in the corner, just being like, yeah, I am FIFA.
I mean, I don't like football, but FIFA with friends is a really fun time. But I guarantee you nothing is more rage-inducing. FIFA rage is a real thing.
Oh yeah. I did at one point play like a game of FIFA around a friend's house because it was their birthday. And you know, it was okay, but I don't see why. I still don't see why people spend so many hours on it. Like, I don't see why they release it yearly either, because...
Well, because they release it to go with all the players, and... and, you know... They could just patch it. Packs. Well, yeah, they could, but then... you know how much money FIFA makes every day? Like, why would they?
Like, legit, that's the worst about video game development, is when they do yearly releases. And, you know, it's a lot of the yearly games that you get, especially the sports games, just a copy and paste of the previous year's game into a new one with a little bit of an update, and they charge full price for it.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that's a very harsh thing that a lot of non-sports games people will say. But they do update a lot of the physics and the graphics, and like I say, they update all the teams and things.
Yeah, they do update it.
There is a lot of work gone into it. It isn't just a copy and paste.
I will say, yeah, copy and paste is me very vaguely phrasing it, so I will say that. But at one point, FIFA did do it, because I'm pretty sure it was FIFA 21 or 22, and someone checked one of the old... I think they clipped through an arena, and they had a goddamn logo for FIFA. It was FIFA 19. Not FIFA 21 or 22. Well, it was 19.
That is an. I was going to say that is an embarrassing asset reuse, but
yeah, there are definitely like certain sports games that are like, I like Madden, so like that's American football.
Yeah,
they reuse a lot. Like it's they haven't really changed anything like serious in a long time in those games. But like I like it because I am a sports nerd, and I really like building teams and seeing like how they would like be in the NFL, or like I don't know, a little bit. That's how I get like a bunch of hours out of it. It's like simulating games.
I was gonna say, I went through like a weird FIFA phase. I think it was FIFA 12 or something, like around that time. Whatever the game before they brought out Ultimate Team was, because Ultimate Team is obviously now how they make all their money. They make over like $100 million a day on Ultimate Team. It's insane. But whatever was the game before that one was a year I actually ended up getting really into FIFA, and I played it a lot over that because it's really you sort of do the whole like career mode, and like you have your team and you up stats all your players and stuff. There's like quite a lot of like RPG elements to it. You're just playing sports rather than killing monsters, but it's all like upstatting and like trying to progress through the things. And I get why people enjoy it.
No, it's just like, especially when it comes to the sports games, it's like, okay, what more can you do to, make a game, actually more interesting? Because it's a game of football. It's not exactly alternative that you can have to the gameplay.
Like I say,
NBA,
it's a more like increasing quality of life stuff, so it plays better. Yeah. Like the physics is improved. You can do better fanfare.
sometimes you do get like those cases, especially. I was a big fan of the WWE games. They were yearly releases, and
I played those too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
there's the big thing that the WE 2020 didn't work in 2020 because it was broken as fuck.
That's exactly what I was going to bring
Yeah.
up, because
That was a
I
huge thing.
a huge fan of the 2K games, especially 2K19, and in fact, I still play 2K19 in my spare time to this day, because they do have 2K22 now, but they have less content in that game than they do with 2K19 because they changed it completely. And I think one of the big reasons why is because 2K20 blocked really hard because one of the developers, I think Ukes, no longer was publishing WWE games, so it was down to 2K by themselves to effectively create the whole game from the ground up. And when you look at it and you just see all the bugs, it's like, god damn. And it was so bad that 2K21 never happened.
No, after 2020, they went, we're going to not do yearly releases because it's too much work. It's a very hard turnaround.
I mean, they still do yearly releases because 2K23
Oh, all right then.
is. I think they just took one.
Yeah, they obviously didn't learn their lesson very well.
Yeah, and I don't mind like yearly releases, just make them different. I don't mind updating the games, just don't make them yearly and full price at the same time. Because once again, there are many games out there. Why would I want to spend full price on a game which has just a tiny bit more than what I've already got?
But again, as you've already said, it's because it's a game that doesn't interest you. If it was something that you were interested in, you'd probably spend full price on
That's
it.
the thing. WWE does interest me, and I have the same mindset.
Well, all right then.
Yeah, so I mean, it is a subjective thing.
Yeah, there's a market for it, so they'll do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just in general, like not even just sort of for sports games and stuff, but like the gaming crunch that the developers have to work with is an unfortunate side effect.
I hate gaming crunches because it's like there's a reason why Red Dead 2 was delayed for a whole year.
Yeah.
So that they could actually get it done. And imagine if it did release in 2017. I doubt it would be nearly as beloved because like first impressions are important.
And that's
so
like
I do hate these crunches that games get because the first impressions are important, and if you're not ready to release it, don't release it. So there's no like budget and all that. Like, you have to be concerned for it. But
I mean, I think like the more recent example that has kind of stuck out to me was like Pokemon, and like with Scarlet and Violet, and I just think if they'd just given it another 2 or 3 months, that would have gone from everyone going, "Oh, that was really cool, but kind of broken," to just that's a perfect Pokemon game. Like that's the game that everyone's been waiting for years.
Yeah, and once again, talking about FromSoft earlier, and we were talking about incomplete games. I think it's easy for me to forget at least. Dark Souls is not a finished game because Lost Izalith is an unfinished level. They were getting crunch time. They were down to crunch time. So excuse me.
And there's the floating door in there.
I think that's in either Duke's Archives or Anolondo, but yeah, you were right there. I like the floating door though. That was kind of funny.
But well, yeah, I mean it is. But it was like there would have been another area up there if they'd had more time.
Yeah, I do find that kind of charming though.
Yes.
What I don't find charming is Lost Izalith, where it's basically lava and the lower end of dragon mountains. Essentially, like they just copied and pasted them, like duplicate, and like you look at it, it's like if they had time to finish it, you can see why I can see the potential of Lost Izalith. Then they were advertising Dark Souls Remastered. Everyone was like, they're going to complete it, they're going to complete Lost Izalith, they're going to remaster it, they're going to do this, and then they didn't.
No.
And yeah, like I like Dark Souls, and I do play the remastered version because that's the best version of it. But it's not a remaster. It's effectively a port that's been made to actually work and function, rather than an actual remaster. Because I feel like that's a thing. Like, when you see labels of remaster or remake, there's this expectation that they're going to be a certain way. And so when they are not a certain way, you just look at it and think, that's not what they're advertising, that's another thing entirely. But if they're not advertising it that way at all.
Yeah. Trying to think. It's kind of like, no, I don't know. My mind is gone.
Yeah.
So let's move into the final part of the show then. Let's do that. I've just also thought that I haven't done a single ad break, which is really bad. I normally go, hey, what's a chat show without ad breaks? And then I talk about things that I'm doing, and I haven't done and I haven't done any. My normal one is, hey, what's a chat show without ad breaks? I only mention this once every 2 months because asking for things is weird, and it weirds me out. But I do have a throne if people ever want to get me anything. This is my once every 2 months that I'm allowed to mention it. The other one is, hey, I'm going to do all my ad breaks now because I forgot to do one earlier. We're playing a lot of games here. We've got loads of collabs coming up over the next couple of months actually, because almost everything I'm going to be playing is 2-player. So if you want to see other cool fun streamers other than these amazing people, it's going to be a good time to be hanging out in my channel, and that's really fun. I am really annoyed because that cocktail has obviously hit me hard, because I do have to pee again. So hey,
Alcohol does that.
yeah, I've only had one, and it's only like a wine glass. It's not like it's that bad, but you know.
But like, I don't know how often you go out drinking, CK. But when I would go out drinking with my friends, there's always like we realise that it's just down to a basic science where like. You can drink all you want and not go to the toilet, but the moment you start going to the toilet...
Oh, when you break the seal, yeah.
After that, yeah.
That is a common drunk science thing, yeah.
Yeah. Like, we realised that it happened, it's like, oh shit.
Right,
Like,
so...
And...
Sorry, yeah, no, I really have to pee. I'm gonna go pee. You guys talk about something interesting for a while. And then when I get back, I've asked all of the lovely guests to bring along a little story from their lives, so they'll all tell you a fun story when they get back. When I get back, even, you know what I mean. Those things. I'll be back in 1 sec.
More warm and fuzzies. CK's lovely.
We love CK.
Okay,
so
great.
I just picked up the Eevee from the throne.
I just bought the beach towel.
Friendship is magic, bitches.
It had Bluey on it.
Yeah, I love Bluey. Sorry, I'm a little aggressive.
Oh, trust me, I've spent how long just ranting about video games. I'm allowed to be aggressive.
Oh yes, CK is fantastic, and we love him.
That's true.
If you don't love CK, then we're
Something's wrong with you.
Yeah, you're the problem.
I mean, Tony, I know I'm the problem, but
Not you,
we weren't gonna talk about. We weren't gonna talk about how bad I am. What the fuck, Tony?
You see, that is why, ladies and gentlemen, Chicken Little is from Kentucky.
Wow, and because of KFC, right?
I get it now.
Because of the
Yeah,
Colonel.
exactly.
Yeah, I knew
Colonel,
it.
Yeah. You know, have you seen Chicken Little and Colonel Sanders in the same room? I
No.
don't think so.
No,
Actually, they're the same person.
same person. 10 out of 10. It's a covert. It's like
Wait a
a
second.
super spy.
I have never seen Colonel Sanders and Chicken Little in the same room.
Oh my god.
Wait, You know, at the end of Chicken Little, when they make the like action film about his life, is he a colonel in that bit, or
He is an ace.
he's a commander, isn't he?
Basically, he's a commander.
But it's still military.
Whenever I hear Commander, I always think Magic the Gathering. So I'm sorry. I was like, I don't get it.
I think someone just said tabletop RPG.
Oh my god. It's.
I've only played Magic the Gathering once. I was more of a Yu-Gi-Oh boy.
Never played it.
Sorry.
My brain doesn't stop. Well, I like pissing people off because I always play Celestia. So it's like, you get more life. You get more life. I get more life. Everybody gets more life. And so
Yay.
the games keep going and everybody gets mad at me. It's fantastic.
That sounds wonderful. I've got not Magic the Gathering as such, but I have Card Wars,
Hell yeah.
which for the people that don't know is Adventure Time's spoof of Magic the Gathering. But I have the actual cards to play Card Wars.
Hell yeah.
Because, you know, I'm a nerd. I don't know if anyone's noticed.
I mean, me too.
Yeah. You know what? Sorry, just as a really random side note, and then we will get on with doing the stories. But my thing for the whenever I do the chat show is I put on a shirt and tie, so I feel more like a host of like a show. And then obviously now I've had to get up twice, and everyone has realised that I'm just wearing shorts, and I.
I mean, it's like, that's just the pandemic, sweetie. Like, that's not like, we expected at this point.
Like,
you know, it's all good.
it was nice weather
Everybody
today,
just
and I
has
put
to-
shorts on.
Yeah. I mean, see, here's the thing, though. That's why I love G-Tuber, is because, like, right now I'm wearing, like, a shirt that has Spider-Man on it, but, like, his hands are inconveniently placed.
Or conveniently placed, depending on perspective.
Well, yeah, but
Oh
like,
Yeah.
it would be not appropriate if I didn't have my PNG tuber.
Sure.
So, you know, it's okay. So, yeah.
And
Also,
hey,
have you seen the box of Kleenex that has Spider-Man on it? The tune and the Kleenex come out of his butt?
I haven't.
It's fantastic. I love it so much. It was like, oh my god, I want to like repurpose this box and have like a web coming off the box.
I just think
Great.
if all of us are entirely honest with ourselves, there's no one here who doesn't want to be folded up by Spider-Man.
Not
Yeah.
wrong.
I mean, but like it's just inconveniently placed and would not be appropriate for stream
Sure.
because I would get distracted. I mean, I already get distracted because ADHD. So, yeah. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Thanks, I enjoyed it.
Hi, Ted.
Hi, Ted.
Dad?
Oh, I was convinced you were going to go, hi, Ted, I'm Tony.
I'm Tony.
Yeah.
You're Tony? I have a Hellboy hand. Random fact. All of a
I mean-
sudden, Tony's head just snapped. I have a Hellboy hand. It was
I mean, if we're doing random facts about what we have next to us, for this entire stream, just sat next to my laptop has been a zombie monkey called Brains.
hell yeah, I love that. I have a dice tray, a little no-face lamp, a bunch of random chords, Hellboy hand, and a little glass heart.
I mean, I think in that Iron Man, I took a good
Yeah.
trying to get him back on the wall. Just to show that I'm a wrestling fan, vinyl here of The Undertaker.
Hell yeah.
My man.
Ooh. Still in box.
I mean, that's the only time pop vinyls are the only things that I keep in the box. Because, why not?
Why not?
I feel like they're better stored, like, because
Yeah.
they're
Because
keyboards,
of how,
aren't they?
yeah.
Well-
I used to have like little Funko Pops in the back of my car and poster tack, and that was a fucking bitch to get out when I sold that car.
I have
Yeah.
4 Funko Pops, and none of them are in their box. They live on my bookshelf. One of them is riding the hoverboard from Back to the Future.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a grunt from Gears of War, but it's on the official authenticated replica of Marty McFly's hoverboard from Back to the Future 2. Because why wouldn't Gears of War need hoverboards, right?
These glasses that I'm wearing, right? These are meant to be like if I ever like drive. I got them way back in like 2019 or 2018, and I was when I was like 17, 18 years old because I'm a young boy. And so like
It's just a little guy.
I got these. Yeah, I was such a little guy. So I got these just the event that I like at the time was into sort of driving, and because it's 2018 / 2019, I was still in college, and then I thought, you know what, 2019 to 2020, I'll take a year off and then resume when September rolls around, and I'm pretty sure we all know what happened in 2020 to put a pay to those plans, and since then I've still not gotten a driving license yet, so that's the story of how I'm not yet a driver.
You don't need to drive. There's trains and buses.
Yeah, because, I mean, to be fair, ours also cost money. Yeah.
They sure do.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, let's get to story time. Who would like to go first with their little story? Don't make me pick someone, I'll do it.
I'll go first.
Thanks, Tony.
I could tell that everyone really wanted to volunteer, so I had to buzz in first.
Yeah, you had to be quick to make sure you got it, yeah.
Yeah. So the story that I want to tell is just a short little story, and the reason why this story popped in my head is because CK, you like to do a thing where you'd be like, oh, this stuffed animal is this person.
Yes, we did that for the Streamversary stream.
Yes, so that reminded me of the first stuffed animal that I ever remember getting. And the first stuffed animal that I ever remember getting is a stuffed animal. It's a beagle dog stuffed animal, and I still have it to this day. When Toys R Us was still a thing, I needed to get, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them. There's a thing like called ear tags, where it would be like a little like flap of skin that like hangs out from in front of your ear, and you aren't really supposed to have that, so I had to get it surgically removed when I was a kid. And it's just a quick little surgery. It's just like a little snip and you're done. But I'm a little kid, so my parents said, you can get any stuffed animal you want and bring it in with you and like hold on to it. So I like looked around and I settled on Scamp, but I just remember being so happy to have the stuffed animal. Like that, like the little snip went by so fast. Yeah, and that started. I know that started my love of having those stuffed animals around. So thought that'd be a cute little story.
That is adorable. Oh, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next then?
I don't mind.
Go, Chris. Chris, I heard you were very eager to tell a story.
Yeah, entirely. Yeah, so the thing is with stories from me is that I did not really have a lot of stories. Because like my childhood was more basic, to say the least. It was, very, anything that I do remember. It's usually something, that I wish I didn't remember. So, this story is not necessarily about myself, but it's how my friends, met each other before meeting each other. And quite a chaotic one. So, I talked about my friend Lucas earlier. Apparently when he was a younger Lucas. Like talking about like early teens. He was quite chaotic, to say the least. He was a very chaotic, and we have a local Sainsbury's in my town. Anyone who doesn't know what Sainsbury's is, it's a supermarket. And like it's weird that, for me specifically, that I'm as well behaved as I am because I'm surrounded by people who really don't behave. Because like, as a small tangent, apparently my older sister at one point brought potatoes down a shopping aisle, just for the fun of it. Like, that's the amount of chaos that we're talking about here. Like no one really does that, do they? Like, I don't think you'll ever come across someone who's playing potato bowling in a open.
But
shop.
it's very childish chaos. It's not like gonna hurt anyone.
Yeah.
It's like more of a pranky sort of thing than actual bad behaviour.
And yeah, on the topic of childish chaos, like, looks very well known for getting in trouble at the local Sainsbury's by security guards, as were the people that he was with. At one point he got banned from the elevators because he kept going up and down them, because children, or just children. But at one point, I think the height of his mischief is that he went down one of the aisles in Sainsbury's and just completely filled it with silly string. He just like him and his friends just were silly stringing the entire aisle, and I don't know if they got kicked out or they just left without getting caught. I hope they left without getting caught. That would be a much funnier story.
Just to clarify, did they bring the silly string from home or did they get it off the shelf at Sainsbury's?
I think they brought him themselves.
Okay.
So yeah, not anything like that, because yeah. I don't think they sold silly string in Sainsbury's. I think that they got it from a different shop.
Alright.
They silly string the entire aisle, and like at one point, like during the time where he was telling me about this, it was like years later. Like we were in high school when he was telling me about it. He was telling me about it to a friend that we had at the time, and basically he was describing it. And then our friend goes on to say, wait. And then they were talking about how they were going shopping with their mother. And then at one point, they came across an aisle completely empty with nothing but silly string all over the goddamn aisle. So, like, they legit, like, almost completely, like, met each other, like, when it was happening. Like, I think they were just, like, moments away from just seeing each other for the first time. You just see Lucas just filling the aisle. I think he left, and like a few minutes later, they just came around, turned the corner, and saw what I guess would be like the oddest weird spider web that you would ever like, come across. And the moment that like they mentioned it, we were all like in shock and awe, and we were just joking about the entire situation. Yeah, that it's a brief story, but that's the story of how two of my friends almost met each other before meeting each other in high school. Yeah.
And covering a Sainsbury's and silly string.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of the normal stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone's
I mean,
like,
it's the sort of stuff,
"Alright."
it's quite funny unless you're the person who works at Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? I very much, I'm sort of the mindset that, you know, had I also been like, what were they, like 15 or whatever, I would have found that very funny. But now I work in a shop and would find that infuriating.
Yeah. So he works in a shop now too, so he probably would find it
Yeah.
infuriating as well.
Yeah, probably. That happens, though.
Yes, that's part of growing up.
Yeah.
Things that used to be funny are now very irritating.
Oh
Like it-
my goodness, yes.
Given the amount of hell stories he talked to me about, I know that there's going to be that there's worse things that he has to clean up aside from silly string.
Oh, yes, I am sure. Right. Jen, would you like to tell us your story?
Yes. Okay. So, I used to be a dancer when I was younger. So I did ballet and tap for probably like 11 years.
Wow.
My last year of dance, it was after I was bitten by a spider, so my leg was all kinds of messed up, so I couldn't dance anymore after that. I had a hairpiece because my hair was falling out because of medical reasons, and so I had this little hairpiece, and it wasn't attached fully, so I was spinning, and my back was to the audience, and all of a sudden my hairpiece flew off. And so my last dance ever on stage ended with me being embarrassed and crying.
Oh no.
It was like my entire outfit was backwards. Like my little rain jacket was inside out. We were dancing to Singing in the Rain. And so I turn around to have my umbrella. My umbrella gets caught on something. My hairpiece jacket was on inside out. So I was like, okay, I think this is a sign that I need to fucking stop. But, you know, it helped me learn how to cope with those things, and now when something goes awry, I'm like, oh, well, this'll be funny in the future.
Yeah.
It sucks right now, but it'll be funny in the future. So it helped me be able to handle some of life's fuckeries a lot better.
It's good. It's good that you took a negative thing and learned to sort of turn it into a positive and make it work out for you.
I mean, I still have nightmares about it when I'm really stressed, but it's fine.
Well, it's just a little bit of childhood trauma.
Yeah, just a little smidgen. It's okay though. Like, childhood trauma is the tahini of. It's just like tahini, just sprinkled through life. I love tahini.
So, you know, you were saying, so your thing now is, well, at least it's not as bad as that.
Yes.
We have one of those in our family. So, when Katie was young, her and her family went on a holiday to Canada. They all went swimming in some big lake, but that was near where they were staying. Had a lovely time. Until her sister started coming up in like a massive rash and all like really bad hives and stuff. They took her to hospital, and the doctor apparently took one look at her and went, "Oh yeah, she's allergic to goose poo." You know, which is just I don't know why. Although that seems like a perfectly reasonable thing to be allergic to, as allergies are supposed to stop you going near bad things. It's just very funny. It's not something you ever hear of. So now, anytime anything bad happens in our like to any of us, we just go, well, at least we're not allergic to goose poo. And it's kind of just become this ongoing joke.
I'm kind of allergic to the sun.
That's less than ideal. But again, it sort of makes sense. You know, the sun is hot and you shouldn't touch it.
Well, yeah. Well, I wasn't... It was... Okay, so some of the medicine that I'm on makes me really sensitive to the sun.
Yeah.
And it can also affect my eyes.
Right.
Because lupus. Love it. Hashtag lupus, thanks. I went to Mexico, like, on a trip when I was in high school. I got sun poisoning the second day. So I, like, was really, really sick. So now I always carry umbrellas with me. So I'm the weirdo that is carrying the
parasol, yeah.
Outside. Yeah. Well, I just use an umbrella because why not? So I carry, like, one of the side pockets of my backpack is my dedicated umbrella pocket. And I have, like, I am the mom of my group, so I have, like, every single over-the-counter medicine in my backpack at all times. So somebody says, I have a headache, or, hey, I have a sliver. I'm like, okay, let's go get this thing. So, like, everybody calls me the mom medic of the group. So I'm like, okay, let's go through the backpack.
Hey, you're a really important person to a lot of people.
Yes. It's like, oh, your blood sugar, glucose little chews in my bag that I keep for just such an occasion. And if you need something with more carbs, I have crackers.
I take Haribo wherever I go.
Yeah. And so, like, they'll make fun of me. Oh, Genesis has her umbrella. Genesis has Backpack of Wonders and Hopes and... So
I was gonna say,
shut up.
no, that's really cool. If you go around with an umbrella everywhere, you're like Marceline.
Yeah.
That's
It's
very
like,
cool.
I'm the best thing. Like, I would be most prepared during a zombie outbreak.
Yes. I feel like I automatically win in the zombie outbreak because I've already been dead and therefore I've already come back, so...
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yes.
We didn't die. We're not dead yet.
Not yet. Give it time.
Not yet. Yeah, our high school class quote was, and now for something completely different. So, we were a bunch of nerds.
Yes.
Get wrecked.
Right, so, to finish off, as always, my little story. So I was torn between two stories I had ready, and I had one that I just thought would be something that people would be shocked to hear that I was about, because it's quite different to how I am. And then I had one that's just like a moment of pure joy and stuff, and I was a bit torn between which one I should tell. And I've decided I'm going to go for the happy one, because I've had a really kind of rough week, so I want to do a happy story to finish my week. And the one that everyone... So tune in for the next episode in 2 months' time, because I might tell a story that will shock you. But yeah, so... You know, like, sometimes when you just catch a little moment of life that is nothing to do with you, but you just happen to see something and it's just the most wonderful thing ever that you can just look at as an observer. A really good example of this is if you overhear like a random sentence of somebody else's conversation that you have no context for, but it's just like I've got a few good ones of those. I was genuinely walking along, two small boys, probably around somewhere between the age of like 5 and 7, having an argument, and one of them just goes to the other one and goes, "You're a lady with bras on." And that is my favorite. That's my favorite insult ever now. It's just the best thing. Yeah,
that is so childish.
Right, and I just like the fact that it's bras plural. Like it's just,
Yeah.
it's great, you know. But things like that, those sorts of things make my day when you just get a snippet of somebody else's life that means nothing to you, but it's just the most wonderful thing ever. And perhaps the best example of this is when me and Katie went on holiday to Tenerife one time. We'd been out for lunch and had maybe a bit too much wine with our lunch. We were feeling quite merry. And we were just sat on a wall, enjoying being in the sun before we sort of went back to our hotel. And there were quite a lot of like just lizards running around because there just are. And then there was this flock of like pigeons walking along, but with one lizard in the middle. So we were already watching this lizard being like, "Oh my god, this lizard's living its life as a pigeon. It's insane." Cut to some other family who happened to be coming along at the time, and they had like a small child with them who was like, "Oh my god, a lizard." So like, isn't that really cool? So the granddad of the family was then like, "Oh, I'm going to try and catch you this lizard." We assume we couldn't actually hear what they were saying. But then, because he was really old, he couldn't like move at any speed or like note. And lizards are quite fast. So he'd kind of like really slowly shuffle up to this lizard. And then as he sort of went to bend over very slowly to try and catch said lizard, the lizard would move, but only about like this far away from him. So he'd then have to really like straighten up and then shuffle over after this lizard. And as he started to bend, and this went on for a good like 20 minutes, just of him like very slowly following a lizard, going to try and bend over, and it moving about a foot, and then him having to stand up, shuffle after this lizard. And me and Katie just watched it for ages and laughed, and it was just one of the most pure and beautiful moments of my life. Just
Love
watch.
that so much.
Love
Yeah, just watching an old man chase a lizard. And this lizard just wanted to live its life as a pigeon.
Hey bro, I'm a pigeon, leave me alone.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not even a lizard. It was great. But yeah, so that's, like I say, one of just the funniest things I've ever seen. And I encourage you in your lives to just try and find small moments like that you can hold on to, because they're just wonderful. And if anyone ever walks past you on the phone, try and hear what they're saying, because it's usually something insane.
Just start talking about pigeons and lizards if they walk by.
Well, we
Wait,
genuinely...
is that not common practice?
Eh,
Yeah, I thought it was.
well,
Okay.
but I mean,
Oh,
again, just going to hearing over things from other people's conversations that you don't have context to. We genuinely had somebody on the phone as they sort of stormed angrily down the high street, shouting at somebody like that they were talking to, and just went, "I don't like squishy." It's like, I have no idea what the context was or anything, but it's just great. Just when you hear little things like that, it's just...
Fully grown adult said that.
Yeah, a woman probably in her like 40s or something. And it's like, but like I say, I didn't hear any of the other conversation, just that sentence, and it's just, yep, sure.
I think the most random thing that I heard when passing by was somebody saying, "I feel like a dog shit in my mouth." It was like somebody on speakerphone. So it was like, oh my god. And so the friend got really flustered. It's like, "You're on speaker." Probably shouldn't say that you feel like a dog shit in your mouth. It's like, oh no. So now, regrets.
That's funny.
Yes.
Yeah. I've also walked past two boys who were probably like 12, 13 sort of age, and as I was walking past, one of them just went, "Quick, we need to get to the nuclear reactor room." And it's just really good when you like overhear random things. It makes me laugh.
Oh yeah. I love hearing things without context.
Mm-hmm.
It brings me so much joy, and like it could be its own drinking game, and it'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel like you could take like just the weirdest things that you heard, like secondhand, like overheard somebody say, and make it into its own D&D campaign.
Yes.
So like, I feel like a dog shit in my mouth. That would be like the beginning of a villain.
Well,
Like
the villain.
the big bad.
The villain casts dog shit on everybody, and everybody has dog shit in
Yeah.
their mouth.
Exactly.
You know,
10 out of
TK.
Yeah.
Wait, is that not normal?
No.
Don't feel like they have a dog shit in their mouth? No? Oh, okay.
No, I don't feel like it. I just have a dog shit in my mouth. I just commit.
That
I
happens too.
commit to the
Yeah,
bit.
fully
No, no.
commit to it.
Yeah.
Totally dog shits. Sounds
Yep.
other type. Other animal shit.
No. It's weird if it's not dog.
Mm-hmm.
Right. On that dog shitty note, I want to thank all of my guests for coming along. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Chris, for being on the show. It has been an absolute delight hanging out with you this evening. Don't do that. Right. Okay. Wait.
No, you.
No. I'm not going to have that on my channel. You shouldn't ever. You shouldn't ever.
Edit it out.
No, I'm not going to edit it out. I'm going to tell you off. Right. You shouldn't ever say no. You. It's a really bad thing to do.
Say it.
Well,
the card said it.
Because
Tell off the card.
you shouldn't say no, because it negates the original nice thing somebody has said to you.
Yeah.
You should say and
I don't
you,
think-
and then that way both of you can be good and wonderful and complimented, and it spreads joy and wonder to everyone.
But I prefer if you feel it more.
Well, that's maybe.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't.
Maybe you could say like
There.
and you, but more.
But
But
you
that's
should
so many more words.
But you shouldn't negate a nice thing that somebody has said to you.
Yeah, I was just
People
reading
do that all
the
the time,
Uno
don't they?
backward. That's why I like the no you. 'Cause
Well, that'd be Onu.
dyslexia.
Yeah,
Well,
that'd be no new.
dyslexia though.
Yeah. Well, it's dyslexia. You can make up anything. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, thank you all for being here tonight. It's been really lovely having you. Tony, when are you next live? When can people see you? What are you up to?
I'll next be live in around an hour from now.
Blimey.
With Background Noise, my podcast. So if you're not, I heard you liked podcasts.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Cool. Jen, what are you up to at the moment? When can people come and catch you?
I will be on again tomorrow morning. I will be working on writing descriptions of all of my emotes since I keep changing
I didn't do
my
that.
freaking emotes.
Cats.
Well, words are hard. It's okay.
Yeah.
So like I go in a little bit more in depth because I have some viewers that are blind and I want them to be able to enjoy the emotes and use them with context. So I really need to get my shit together and actually do that. So stream will hold me accountable and it's an education mode.
Yay.
Let's go.
That's it.
Woo.
If you want to learn and do accessibility, go and talk to Jen. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. Happy to share what I know.
Chris, when are you next live? What are you up to?
No, that's a good question.
It is a good question.
Monday is probably the most likely, well, it's the earliest you'll probably see me. If not, it'll probably be Friday. I'll either be doing, well, it might be Bloodborne if I've got the patience for it. If not, I'll probably go for either The Last of Us or Spider-Man on the PS4. Either way, it's going to be a PS4
All good games.
oriented stream. All great games. That's where you can catch me on the Twitch. I do have plans on doing some other projects on not Twitch,
Ooh.
but
No, tell us about it.
I've not said anything about it yet. So
Oh, well, don't then.
this is like if you like video games and you think video games are art, a form of art, then stay tuned for some projects that I'm working on.
I would go as far as to say I don't think it. I know that they are a form of art on account of the fact they're a form of art.
Yeah, but some people don't think that.
Yeah, well,
And the problem is with art is that it's subjective. So people will say, well, art is subjective, and I think it's not art.
well, no, because the fact that it is art isn't subjective. Whether or not you like art is subjective, I would say.
Yeah, but people like to twist things to make them sound right.
Wow.
It's the way of the world.
It is.
But I'm always right. So you're all lovely people. 10 out of 10.
Thanks.
Well, always right, Genesis.
I just like the Tony's model keeps falling over every now and again. Sorry.
He's just stretching. Like, I know when Tony's about to get a drink because it kind of glitches out and then his mouth just stays open for a little bit. And, like, somebody could do very unfortunate screen caps. but it's
Involving
fine.
dog poo. Yes.
Yeah, so you can just edit a dog poo right on in there. No? You don't want that, Tony? Oh, well, I tried, guys. I really did.
It's fine. We'll do it anyway.
Okay.
Cool. I will be next live tomorrow. We're going to be starting Lost in Random, which I've been meaning to play since February, but my schedule has been backlogged. So I'm really excited about that. And then next week we've got a couple of fun things coming on the channel because we'll be starting a collab with our good friend Silver, playing Pit People. And we'll be doing a tabletop RPG stream of a tabletop RPG that I have designed and invented myself, called Drunk Gins and Drinkins, which is a fantasy pub crawl quest.
Hell yeah.
So it's basically the World's End, but in a TTRPG.
Yes, it's kind of like the World's End, but in a Dungeons and Dragons world. It's very much the combine of those two.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was supposed to be my celebration for finishing Biomutant, but we finished Biomutant a week earlier than I thought we would, so that's why there's a gap. Otherwise, we would have been doing it tomorrow. Also, I haven't finished making it, and I need another week. But yeah, you want to know how nervous I was before streaming Honey Heist because I hadn't DM'd it before. Now I'm streaming a game that has never been played because I've designed it. So a little terrified, but that's happening next week on Sunday. And yeah, so lots of cool things coming up on the channel over the next few days. Thank you again, all of my lovely guests. Please go and check them out on their streams. They're all wonderful. Tony's you can do in an hour. Thank you again, Ains, for the raid, and anyone who came along with the raid for coming to hang out and check us out here. It's really appreciated. Thank you, Jen, for several gift subs, you delightful human, and apparently buying me a thing on Throne, which I will have to check out later, and thank you for properly. And thank you, Tony, for resubbing. Or gift subbing. You did a subby of some sort. Much appreciated all. Let's find somebody to raid and spread the wholesome to. Who shall we go for?
Do we want Dark Souls 3 streamer?
Say Dark Souls.
No. I'm going to go for, because I've never raided him before, and he's somebody who shows a lot of love to this channel. I'm going to go raid Glenn, I think.
Ooh, good shout.
Because he normally plays a lot earlier than this. He's normally finished by now. So I never get to raid him.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Glenn on right now, actually.
Yeah, me too. So that'll be really cool. Let's go raid Glenn. Glenn's a really lovely guy. If you call him a bottom, he'll get angry, but it's funny, so do it. And
Yes.
but he's just a really nice guy. He plays a lot of RPGs, really friendly. But before that, if anybody doesn't have the socials and would like them, you can follow on YouTube to watch past VODs that I do. You can follow on Twitter to get updated on what I'm up to, or you can join the Discord if you want to chat in between streams. If you set your role as a sloth, you get to see what I do on my area of the Discord. If you set it for live notifications, you get to see when me and all the other cool streamers in the Nerdy Castle go live. If you are happy lurking, or do you want to say your own version of hey how are you to Glenn when we get there, that's perfectly fine. But if you want a raid message to chuck in chat when we get there, here is the raid or sub raid message, depending on whether or not you are a sub. Oh, I'm joking now.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I can't do the Heimlich over the power of the internet.
It's a little harder over the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be back.
Control.
I'll be back tomorrow playing Lost in Random for the first time. Really excited for that. But until then, all I've got to say is thank you again to my guests, and bye. And remember, spread the wholesome.